Hey everybody, welcome back to Rudo Radio. It's a weekly wrestling podcast from SB Nation and Cage Side Seats. I'm Bill Handstock. With me as always is Mark Normandin. And once again, we're joined by our very special guest, Griffin McElroy. How's it going, buddies?
It's the very that makes it. If I was just a regular old special guest, it wouldn't mean as much to me to be here. So Thank you for that.
Yes, you're our first two-timer.
This is also a good time for me to ask if I should be recording my audio right now.
Once again, no, it's fine.
Okay.
This is the least professional of podcasts.
Wonderful, wonderful. What a refreshing break for me.
Yeah. Mark, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I watched 9,000 hours of wrestling this weekend, or at least it felt like it. Mm-hmm. And then there was opening day right after that, so I don't miss sleep.
We were all busy this weekend, but...
Now, opening day for, like, NASCAR? What is the...
For baseball. I mean, it might have been NASCAR, too, but I wouldn't know. Don't want to offend any NASCAR fans out there who are like, it was our opening day, too.
Griffin, when is opening day for Dota 2?
Year round, baby. This train never stops. I don't know anything about Dota 2. I can't even pretend. I know that people get really angry about, like, little shit that happens in it.
So it's just like everything else?
Yeah, it's just literally like everything else in the world at this point.
Especially like wrestling.
Especially wrestling.
Well... Mark is the only one of the three of us who didn't actually go to WrestleMania 32.
I feel like that's good. We'll get some.
We'll get some different perspectives.
I didn't have the energy of the live crowd to sustain me or darken my mood, depending on the situation.
Well, I'm actually curious to hear how the televised experience differed, because I heard a lot of reports of some crowd mic muting that was happening during a particular match where maybe the crowd was making some noises that WWE didn't care for.
Oh, man. I can't believe that, like, one of my favorite moments of WrestleMania was 5 minutes away from, like, just the most boring shit. Like, that match was probably good, but I don't know, because it was just, I was gassed when it started, and then they muted the crowd, like, very clearly muted the crowd, and man, silence is so much worse than the booing. You know, at least then it would have felt like something was happening. But I was just like, here, let this main event of WrestleMania help you drift off to not giving a shit.
It would be great if the crowd was like boo and it's like mute. And then Michael Cole was like, we apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but the crowd unanimously said booby fuck for some reason.
Just for 30 minutes.
They all yelled,
just sustained it.
They all shouted, boy, I'm having a great time watching this fight.
Well, we'll get to the end of the 7 hours eventually. Let's just go in chronological order, because that would be easiest. Let me just tell you, though,
it did not feel like we were going to get to the end of the 7 hours eventually.
Dude, you're telling me. Anyway, we'll get there. Let's start chronologically with NXT TakeOver Dallas.
Hot shit. So I don't watch much NXT. I don't watch much wrestling at all, and I said this on Twitter. I stand by it. Probably the best wrestling show I've maybe ever seen.
Yeah,
I was in love with that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, I have an important question for you.
Yo.
Was it better than Brooklyn?
As a whole card, yes. As like an entire event, absolutely. Like without a doubt. As I don't know if the high was higher than Sasha versus Bayley, but it was damn close. But as a complete event, yes, absolutely. Best NXT show they've ever done, top to bottom.
Right.
Even including the Elias Sampson versus Apollo Crews match I had to watch.
I mean, that didn't happen.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned.
That's not canon. As of right now, that is not canon.
I felt when I saw, like, oh, that was a dark match. It already happened. I was like, some of these matches are going to go long.
Yeah.
Because it's like there were like 5 other matches on the card or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was really great. I didn't get to go to this one, so I can't directly compare it to Brooklyn in the same exact sense. But let me tell you, on the couch, it's some pretty great wrestling.
Yeah, up until like the day before, I wasn't sure whether I was going to actually physically go to this, and I was prepared to just watch it on my hotel's shitty Wi-Fi. But boy, am I glad I went.
So I had heard of Nobody. Uh-huh. That's not entirely true. I knew about Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn. I know Sami Zayn. I'd heard of Shinsuke Nakamura, and I watched like a little bit of a fight that him and AJ Styles did over in Japan that my buddy made me watch.
Yeah.
I said made. I happily watched it because it was dope as hell. And I knew about the other matches on the ticket after that, but I knew nothing about American Alpha or the other the Revival.
But you liked that match?
Yeah, that was good. That was some good tag team. There were a couple. There's that one really brutal botch that makes me like uncomfortable to see that. Not that I feel like, oh, how dare you not fight perfect for me 100% of the time, but I just feel so bad for that dudes. And I think it was Scott Dawson is the one that goofed up that
Scott Dawson is the Baldo.
Yes, I think it was him, and he did a dive and just like completely whiffed, and then he just kind of like gave the crowd a shit-eating grin, like, "Yeah, I fucked up."
Yeah,
and I felt so bad for the dude, and that's what makes me uncomfortable about botches. I don't. It doesn't like break me out of the illusion or whatever. I just feel so bad for the. It's like when I watch like a little kid strike out while playing baseball because it's like, oh man, I bet you really wanted to hit that, and now you're embarrassed in front of the crowd. You don't know how to handle these emotions.
Like that's the thing. Like that's one of the reasons why I like going to PWG shows so much is because. The crowd's like actually forgiving and understands that these are like human beings doing something incredibly difficult all the time.
Not this crowd.
Yeah. Which is surprising because usually NXT crowds are, forgiving of things, but boy, they just fucking ate it up and it was bullshit.
I hate the botchamania stuff. Like, it also takes you out, like you are reacting to, the crowd is not acting as if the thing, like what's going on is scripted the rest of the time.
Yeah.
But like in that moment where they are saying it's a botch, they're going, this is fake and like you fucked up.
Yeah.
Whereas like in reality, if you are having a fight, not everything is going to be this perfect ballet of, kicks and punches and flips.
Yeah. It's the dumbest shit. Cause like wrestling's real hard to do and, they do it flawlessly, like almost all the time. But like, if you go to like if you're like at a Ronda Rousey match and she gets kicked in the face, you're not like fucking botch.
shouldn't have gotten kicked in the face.
Like a crowd will boo an outfielder if he like makes an error, but like if a guy strikes out or grounds into a double play or something, you're not like botched, fucking botched.
Now I will say,
I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah, you should.
Caveat here, I'm totally on board. I think that chant sucks.
Yeah.
The only time where I think that sort of derision was, I'm gonna go ahead and say necessary, was the Brock Lesnar somersault on Kurt Angle where he missed Kurt Angle by about 10 Kurt Angles and took it right on the head and got like a cool little a nasty raspberry up there. That was just like, I think that was Brock's last time touching a rope. Brock was like, I'm not going to get on those things because when I do, I peel off half my scalp trying to attack Kurt Angle.
Yeah, well, what made that even worse is like he was doing shooting star presses like in developmental, like before he came up, and like the line on him was like, "Holy shit! Wait until you see this dude on WWE TV because he's like a legitimate like sandwich monster, but he can also do a shooting star press." Yeah. And for whatever reason, like he never did it on the main roster because they were like saving it. They're like, "Oh, he's going to be in WrestleMania main event. He'll bust it out, and it's going to be amazing when it happens." And for whatever reason, he was like, yeah, Kurt Angle's like 7/8 of the way across the ring. This is probably going to be okay.
Yeah, no, that's just not. He can't go coast to coast with the fucking five totally tuna sandwiches chilling in his gut. That shit drags you right back down to earth.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably the first time in his life Brock Lesnar had ever failed at athletics.
I know. I'm surprised he didn't pick up the ring and suplex it right there. Right. Just like entire wrestling arena.
Well, because like everything in his life that he'd ever attempted to that point, he had succeeded at. So he was like, whatever, he could be fucking outside the ring. It doesn't matter.
How dope would it have been if Kurt Angle had stood up and then tried to play it off in kayfabe that he had like telekinesis. And that was how they rescued that.
Just like mentaloed him to the ground.
Yeah.
The tag match I thought was how I described it in my write-up was like if you had to explain to aliens what tag team wrestling was, like you would show them this match.
I feel bad actually that we've talked about the botch for this long because it was otherwise it was a sick match. It
was a gorgeous, amazing match. But I think I like that you brought that up because it gave me the opportunity to say stop shitting on botches and try being there were so many moments in this weekend where I just wanted to grab horrible wrestling fans by their face and be like, be a human being.
Yeah.
But we'll get to the worst people of the weekend later. What else happened on? So the second match, Apollo Crews versus our boy Barry Corbin, aka Robbie Corvette.
Austin Aries.
Yeah, Austin Aries versus Barry Corbin. What happened? What did I?
Do you want to tell him?
What?
They fought in a wrestling ring, and Barry Corbin got beat, which he did not seem especially happy about.
Yeah.
Austin Aries was wearing some fantastic shorts.
Oh, old sparkle butt.
Didn't know nothing about Austin Aries, but very into him. Made a comment that he's really putting in a lot of work. Like no, I'm serious. Like again, and if you didn't listen to the last episode I was on, I'm like a baby. Like I've been watching wrestling for like 2 years maybe, and I watched like almost literally nothing before that. So I'm still like pretty new to the scene. But like I think it's rare nowadays for a wrestler to be able to do that many spots and that many moves without like taking a break.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't laying down at all. Which compared to Baron Corbin, who's like a big sweating hulking dude who is otherwise pretty stationary. Austin Aries was like running full circles around the ring, diving back in, doing a trick off the rope, doing a sit combo, Hadouken, sliding out, getting like he was moving around. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. I really loved the match, and I really loved. I mean, like Mark can attest to how much we like Barry Corbin around these parts. The lone wolf, Barry Corbin.
I mean, I might have embarrassed myself in front of my friends who didn't really watch wrestling on
Were
Sunday.
You like,
so yeah, I was just squeeing and yelling all over the place.
But yeah, I love the match, and I really love the story it told, because I've been watching Austin Aries wrestle for like 14 years at this point, like 12, 14 years at this point, and like I don't think I've ever seen him come out and just like attack someone with like that kind of ferocity. And I just loved it because the story was like Barry Corbin, his whole thing has been like, I fucking hate nerds, and I'm gonna like I'm just gonna pie face every nerd to the ground that I see. I'm gonna toss him in a locker. But old Sparklebutt came out, and he was like, I'm going to fuck you up. And then he just took it to him.
I'm a sucker for any match with a significant size differential.
Mm-hmm.
It's why, like, I mean, I got into wrestling because of Daniel Bryan. Like, watching him fight dudes that outweighed him by, like, 500 fucking pounds.
Right.
Like, I love that shit. Watching him like climb up them and punch in the back of their head. Like, I'm into that shit in a big way.
Yeah, like
and there were shades of Daniel Bryan here.
Yeah, for sure. And I should let you know that somewhere on the internet you'll be able to find a 70-minute match between Daniel Bryan and Austin Aries.
Ooh, are they just? Is it just them running around each other, just like in circles, just like? Doing an endurance marathon.
Yeah. I think it's a 2 out of 3 falls, but I'm not sure. Like the story is, it's from a Ring of Honor event called Testing the Limit, and the story behind that is that they wanted to do a 3-hour match, but the promoter told them no.
God,
so 70 was the compromise.
That's a long. How long was this NXT thing? It was like
2 hours, 2 hours 20.
That's a good chunk of whatever event that was.
Yeah. Like you're talking about size differential, like the Raw before WrestleMania, like just when Kalisto and Ryback like had a stare down, I was like, this is gonna be great.
Oh boy, I would have been great if we could have watched that fucking match. Oh my god, I can't wait to tear WrestleMania a new asshole because of that shit.
Okay, we'll get there. Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura, probably like one of the best matches of all time.
Oh man,
what? It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I literally,
it's fucking lit.
So I saw that one match against AJ Styles, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's sick." And then from his entrance, that entrance music is the tightest shit ever. his Freddie Mercury steez, like I'm so deep into.
Yes.
So many points in this match. I tell you what it was when he got his nose busted open when they went.
Yeah.
We're just trading blows in the ring, and he got his nose busted open, and then tasted his own nose blood. I literally pulled out my phone and was like, "Gotta buy some Nakamura merch like right now." Got it like. Shit, how did I not get down on the ground floor? This is the freshest dude ever.
Yeah, for sure.
Sammy, I don't want to count out Sami Zayn, though, because he was also...
Yeah. No.
He's incredible every time he fights.
Well, that's the thing, is like, Sami Zayn's familiar, and we already know he's like one of the...
not for me. Not that familiar for me. So, like, the most Sami Zayn I'd watched, he was in the Rumble, right?
Yeah.
He was in the last Royal Rumble, so I saw him there. Not that he, got a star treatment or whatever.
Sure.
For me, it was that match that same friend that educated me about Shinsuke Nakamura made me watch the match where Kevin Owens did a rude thing to him. We're putting him through 2 ladders stacked up on 2 other ladders.
Yeah.
So maybe that was my only context for Sami Zayn is, boy, he can go through 2 ladders very good.
He really can.
But yeah, he fights like a beast. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
It was fascinating in that match because he usually doesn't have, he's not throwing strikes like that usually. Mm-hmm. So it was cool to see Zayn like realize he needed to have this extra edge against a guy who was just going to knee his head off if he let him.
Yeah. One of my very favorite things in the entire match, because I watched the match, like, so what happened was, like, Nakamura came out and it was fucking amazing, and I took pictures of his entrance, and then as soon as the entrance was done, I put my phone in my pocket and I was like, nope, and I watched it with my eyeballs the whole way. and then the next morning I woke up and I was like, I gotta watch the match again. So then I watched it on the network.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yo.
Because you've been watching wrestling so much longer than I have.
Yeah.
Why is it that, like, obviously there's obvious exceptions. Why is it that like 95% of wrestlers, do they pick their own entrance music? And regardless of the answer to that first question, how come so much of it is just butt rock and like really, really, really bad rap / butt rock fusion hybrid? Like it's an experimental new wrestling rap butt rock genre that is like absolutely the pits. That's why like stuff like Nakamura's entrance, which had that like crazy violin, like atonal strings to it.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was so fresh just because it's like not butt rock.
Yeah.
It's like in Japan, he had music that sounded like a Street Fighter character.
Yeah, you definitely need to go look up his previous music.
Okay, yeah, I need to.
And now that he's in NXT, he has like Final Fantasy villain music.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. That no kidding. That was the thing I said. Is it was like the Sephiroth theme from Final Fantasy VII, which is like this 13-minute like insane choir screaming over strings. Like, yeah, I'm so into it. Do they get to pick their own music?
Is it
like baseball where it's like you pick your own thing and then everybody picks the same same Prodigy tune?
Kind of. Like they used to do a lot of like licensed music. They don't do that very much anymore. But what they do now is on the main roster, it's mostly a guy named Jim Johnston who's been doing it ever since the days of like, I'm a sexy boy.
So somebody's got their finger on the pulse.
So that's the guy who does it on the main roster. And there's an artist / producer named Cephos who does most of the NXT stuff, and that's why the NXT stuff is so much better usually.
Yeah, it's real good.
But like just
say for Sami Zayn's like funky ska ass.
But that's
squirrel nut zippers.
No, that's the thing though, is every wrestler, unless they're just completely terrified of like trying to have a hand in creative or talking to Vince, like every wrestler who isn't afraid of that will talk to the person who's responsible for making their music and be like, this is what my personality is, this is what my character is, here's some music that I really like or that my character would really like.
Yeah.
And then that person, like Jim Johnston, will be like, all right, cool, and then like craft some butt rock that's closest to what the character motivation is,
Okay.
I mean, Sami Zayn is skunking down the ramp too. So
yeah.
So
but that's the thing is that Sami Zayn legitimately is a ska nerd, and he's a goofball. And so,
did he time travel into the NXT from 1997?
Yeah, he was frozen in time. In 1996, he was listening to a Skunks record on Moonska, and then he was revived in today's world.
Sounds like Sami Zayn's not the only Ska nerd. Sounds like maybe I'm talking to one, maybe two right now on this podcast.
Look, I enjoy some ska, man. I'm not gonna be put through a witch hunt.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, we all love Sami. It's fun to sing along to Sami Zayn's theme. It's good. It's a good time.
Yeah, he's good people. Got kind of a short shrift at the Mania, but
yeah. Well,
whatever.
He was still a star though.
Oh yeah, he was excellent. I didn't mean to completely this is going to be such a dense episode of this podcast. I didn't mean to disrupt it for 5 minutes to talk about ska.
Well,
we were doing as many hours as Mania today, right?
Yes.
God, I hope not.
Yes. We're keeping Griffin from all of his appointments.
Wonderful.
I like that you picked up on Nakamura channeling Freddie Mercury right away because
dude, that fucking vest,
yeah.
I think he probably got that from the Mercury estate.
Yeah. Well, our guest next week is going to be Jim Ross. I conducted a awesome interview with him the day after WrestleMania, and he said that the first time he met Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom 9, he was talking to him backstage, and he was talking to him, and he confirmed Nakamura is fluent in English, which is one of the reasons he got signed, and was one of the reasons that he's going to be a big star over here. But he was Jim Ross asked him what are your influences, and he expected him to be Antonio Inoki, Misawa, stuff like that. And Nakamura said to him, Freddie Mercury and Michael Jackson.
Fucking awesome. Yep. Perfect.
So great. But yeah, if you haven't seen that match, and you're probably not listening to this podcast, that's pretty much that. Women's title match. Asuka, new champ. Bayley.
So good.
Bayley, very sad.
Your tweets about who's the little girl who's a diehard Bayley?
Izzy.
I didn't know about that. I had to Google who Izzy was because I thought some girl had some sort of medical emergency in the middle of NXT TakeOver Dallas.
It looked like she had, yeah. She it was there were two WWE photographers. Izzy was sitting 2 rows in front of me, and there were some WWE photographers up there with us for Bayley's match, and they were shooting the first part of the match. They were shooting over Izzy's shoulder, shooting shots of the ring with Izzy watching, and then when the finish of the match happened, they swung around and got her from the front, and Izzy had a meltdown for the ages. She turned around her back to the ring and was "Wah!"
That's sad.
Yeah, just wild, just a wild meltdown. And her dad scooped her up and carried her out onto the concourse until she calmed down. And then he came back, and I sent out 2 tweets. I sent out the tweet that she's having a meltdown, and I sent out another tweet that her dad had carried her out of the arena because that's what I thought had happened. And then just hundreds of tweets from just shitty people.
Just complete dick. Yeah.
Just the worst people. Fuck that little girl. I hope she is sad. What's wrong with you?
Listen, I'm an Asuka fan too, but come on. Bottle it up.
They're just, I don't know, they're pretty upset that she can enjoy things, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's probably it. Yeah. What did Enzo say? Hate is just jealousy? Something. It was a hot line.
Spelled backwards.
Yes.
They were all hot lines.
It's a palindrome for jealousy. So Griffin, you like Asuka, so are you happy that she took the belt?
Oh, for sure. I first of all, I love any title match that ends in a sleeper finish. That's I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that happens at all. I guess it happened in the Taker Brock Lesnar match. Anyway, I think I'm a sucker for any wrestler who's just a total weirdo, and everything about Asuka from her style to her weird flourishes after she does a move.
Yeah. Also, she attacks people with her butt a lot.
She attacks people. Yeah. There's a weird ferocity to it that I'm really into. But I'm also a big Bayley fan too. I feel I don't know. Again, I don't watch that much NXT, so I don't know enough about either of them to be an expert. But holy shit, was this an entertaining match?
Just while we're talking about weirdness, real quick, just because it occurred to me, Griffin, do you mind if I ask you?
Yeah.
Which WWE or NXT wrestler would you most want to have swallow you?
Oh, this is a great question, and I've thought about it a lot.
Is it the Ryback?
No, no, that's too on the nose. I think what Well, this would be a cop out, but Shaquille O'Neal, just like because I'd love to meet him. But excluding that, like I think Big Show would be nice and spacious, nice and roomy. He seems like he's probably swallowed somebody before, so he has some experience. And it just seems like there's a lot of mysterious areas inside of him that I could explore. I wouldn't get bored in there. Like if a John Cena swallowed me, like I would also like to meet him. But it would be like, well, I've seen all of the inside of him within like a week. Yeah. Big Show is like you get in there and it's like, oh man, I haven't even been in this arm yet. It's so big.
Yeah, Big Show definitely has a few people swimming around all up in his guts right now.
Yeah, I would have some company too, which would be nice.
Probably like Buff Bagwell's up in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Mark is clearly having problems here.
Okay, he's thinking about who he wants to swallow him.
Right. Does it really? But Griffin, does it really count as vor if it's something that's that could feasibly happen?
Listen, I'm a realist, okay?
Because you're I think that you're probably the perfect size to just climb on in Big Show.
Yeah, no, I could get in him like a Gundam.
Big Show, you call Big Show your personal sleeping bag.
Yeah. He's basically a pop-up tent. He's a dude camper. I love it.
I want to know your thoughts, Griffin, on Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor.
Again, I know both these dudes. I actually knew a little bit about Finn. Is Balor?
It's Balor, yeah.
I say it differently, but you would know better.
You say Baylor, right?
Yeah. That's wrong, though, according to you.
It is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have to inform you.
Yeah, I knew a little bit about Finn Balor. I didn't know anything about Samoa Joe. Ended the fight probably a bigger Samoa Joe fan.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I think Finn's shit is kind of cornball. Okay, I think it's very cornball. I know I just said that I like weirdness, but I like a very specific type of weirdness.
Right. You like ladies who wear all of the pieces of underwear on top of each other.
Well, no, I like it in the same way that I liked Ms. Dow and like it's just like it can't. I don't know.
You like goofy weird. You don't like faux serious weird.
Yeah, and I'm even into I'm okay. Bray Wyatt is like the ideal of it. Like okay. That's a maybe unique flair, a unique sort of identity, and like all those Shinsuke Nakamura, I think definitely has it. This like when the character and the whole identity is based around that weirdness, and it's like your fighting style is based around that. When it's all like this cohesive thing, like it just feels so like. And this is, I imagine, a weird descriptor to use when talking about the WWE at all, but inauthentic. Like I don't know, I just didn't.
No, I get it. Like I get it. Like if you haven't seen a lot of Finn Balor, like I totally get that. I think
he's a good fighter. It's just like the whole "there's a demon inside of me" thing. He came out with a chainsaw. I was into that, but Samoa Joe, his character is a gigantic man with 3 times the amount of blood as a normal person, who just is like fucking 5 ham hocks that were brought to life by a wizard that just like pummels the shit out of dudes.
Yeah, it's really great.
I like that very much.
Yeah, and I think the Bloodman should have won. Mark, do you think that the Bloodman should have won?
Oh, man, we talked about this last week, but like there was pretty much no way that this was going to result in me being upset. I didn't really care who won. I just knew it was going to be 2 dudes beating the shit out of each other, right. And I was going to be happy about it.
It was just great. Like Samoa Joe, like it really, like throughout the whole match, it felt like it was Samoa Joe's time.
Yeah,
and he was just putting the flesh to him.
Do want to say big ups, mad props to that crowd again. Shout at the medic who was trying to keep him from like losing his eyeball.
Right.
Big props to them for the 4 seconds that it took them to patch up his eye.
Yeah.
Boo! I love blood. Them shouting "Let them bleed" like I have moments now like watching wrestling where I'm like, that's like. Yo, like I get it. You're in the moment, and it's fun. You're having a good time watching this match, but like, how do you not understand that? That's not even like jokey joke. That's literally what they would shout at like Coliseum matches back in like fucking 300 BC. How do you not get that? And the same reasons that you're yelling it is like, haha, get it, guys? Wouldn't it be funny if we yelled that we wanted him to bleed because we want to watch the fight? They were probably saying that shit back in 400 BC. How do you not get that?
Yeah, you're new to this, so I'll just let you know that the one trait that most wrestling fans just fundamentally lack is a sense of self-awareness or perspective, or
there are places.
Also, empathy is a big one that's missing.
There are places where you can let a dude bleed and like just let it kind of, if like Joe kept pushing him away, but like
at
above his
drop.
eyeball is probably not one of those places.
Yeah.
Like let them close that shit up.
Yeah. But I thought that like the medic attending to Joe, I thought that added a lot to the match because Joe kept getting pissed off,
kept like slapping him out of the way. Yeah, that was badass.
Yeah, so cool.
Really, he kept coming back with more intensity for Finn. Every time he pushed the medic away, and the crowd getting upset about the fight being stopped is fine, but like the chants about like fuck PG or whatever, aggravating. But like it ended up adding to the match in a lot of ways. That it worked out the way it did.
Just unfortunately, one of the things that added to the match was like these people are garbage. But yeah, it was great, such a great match. Like
I love that. Samoa Joe is on some E Honda shit.
Yes.
Just like slapping the paint off Finn Balor. Just like slapping that dude was wearing fucking half the makeup he had on at the end of the fight. Like that was so rad. God. Yeah, I'm a big Samoa Joe fan now. I enjoyed that fight a lot.
Yeah, he's on an amazing level right now. And something that you probably don't know, but Mark probably does know, is like the year 2004, Samoa Joe was like the consensus like best wrestler in the world. 2004, 2005, and like everybody over the world was like, "This is my favorite wrestler. It's going to be amazing when he gets to WWE." And like, if you had told someone in 2004, like, "Hey, you know what? It's going to take 10 years for Samoa Joe to get to WWE, but when he does, he's going to be your favorite wrestler all over again." Like, people would have been like freaking out.
Yeah.
Like. So the I don't know if this is like apocryphal or whatever, but like the agreed upon story is like circa 2005, like both TNA and WWE were like courting Samoa Joe, 2005, 2006, and reportedly at a WWE meeting, Vince McMahon was like, Samoa Joe, I'm sick of hearing about this asshole. I'm gonna bring him in and I'm gonna bury him and make him worthless and then kick him out the door. And so someone told Samoa Joe that Vince McMahon said that. So he's like, I guess I'm signing with TNA then. And then he went to TNA for 10 years.
I'm glad he's here now, though.
Yeah,
I'm glad he gave me his blood.
It's been a long and winding road, but everything worked out really good, especially for us. Access was interesting and fun as always. And on Saturday, I accidentally wound up at the full NXT tapings for the next several weeks. No spoilers here, but I am very excited to report that not only did I see Shinsuke Nakamura at TakeOver, but I got to see 2 more Shinsuke Nakamura matches.
Damn. I need to start watching NXT, huh?
Yeah, you sure do.
I need to come up with a game plan of how to watch wrestling, because it's if you, the listener, don't know this, it's like it's hard to figure out how to like come at this thing because there's like 6 of it. But I think NXT, I enjoyed that takeover so much, and I liked everybody I saw. Like, it seems like I would really get a lot out of watching NXT.
Well, NXT is absolutely worth the subscription fee for the WWE Network each month.
Yeah, I already got that. So.
Yeah. But like that's, I mean, you watch NXT and you watch the pay-per-views and you're probably covered.
Sick.
Yeah. So again, no spoilers, but saw a lot of really good matches. Mark, would you be offended if I told you one of the matchups that is really good without spoiling anything?
Yeah, you can tell me a matchup, yeah.
Okay. One of the matchups that is really great is Samoa Joe versus Apollo Crews.
Okay.
Super good. But another thing I will say without any spoilers is Tag Team Dream Match. I'll just say those 4 words. Yeah. All right. Okay. Anyway, I don't imagine either of you caught any of the Hall of Fame on Saturday.
No, because we were at the other thing.
Right.
I was literally sitting right next to you as we were not at the thing you just asked.
No,
about.
But I mean, like, like last night at like 2 a.m., I watched some of the Hall of Fame. That's all. I mean, I find the time.
Okay.
Mark?
That's the difference between me and you.
Mark, have you watched any of that?
Nope.
Okay.
My exposure to the Hall of Fame was the little video package they did at WrestleMania, which is my usual exposure to it.
Gotcha. Well, I will say New Day was amazing at it. Watch their induction of the Freebirds if you're going to watch anything from it. But, as always, Hall of Fame, enjoyable to watch later on television, enjoyable enough, not fun to watch in an arena.
I figured I'd wait for the, if I'm going to watch it, I'll wait for
the hour version. Yeah.
Yeah.
My exposure
heavily edited.
My exposure to the Hall of Fame was following Dan Reichert from Giant Bomb on Twitter as he kept one eye constantly on Big Show throughout the evening to track how much he was vaping during the Hall of Fame ceremony. Yes. And the answer, spoiler alert, was a great deal.
A bunch, yeah.
He cleared a few pints of juice.
Cotton.
He was ripping so much heavy cotton, it was hard to see what was going on the stage.
What's great, like one of the highlights of Hall of Fame every year is not just Big Show vaping on the floor in his fine dress attire that is handmade for him out of just acres of cloth.
Yeah.
But that, like, when people are telling jokes on the stage, they cut to Big Show often because Big Show is one of the dudes who's just like, he's laughing like he's just seen, like, Borat star in Jackass 2 or something. Like,
yeah,
he's just like, like, just doubling over. I'm not sure it's just tobacco juice in there in that vape.
Well, I mean, there's an inscrutable mix of chemicals. There's some stevia in there.
And also some special herbs and spices. Oh man, I wonder if they have like KFC flavored vape juice, because that would probably get me in.
There's not a lot of savory vapes.
Well, because I someone was vaping out of one of those like Doctor Who looking motherfuckers, and
yeah,
I was like, oh, what flavor?
Wait, they looked like David Tennant, or the vape that they were using
the vape
looked like the sonic screwdriver.
Yes, the latter. Yeah, and I was like, oh, what flavor of the vapes do you have in there? And they're like, this is whiskey flavored.
That's terrible.
I'm smoking weed that tastes like booze.
Well, it probably wasn't. It's not weed, right?
They vape weed.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's the best. That's how you know it's good.
Do you want to talk about that match we went to?
Yeah,
I know it wasn't exactly WWE themed.
I was planning on talking about it. It's on my rundown here. We went to Mercury Rising, which was the WWN Live Super Show, featuring people from Evolve, CZW, Shine, etc. And it started off, I was very happy. I was very, very happy to go with everyone that I took to this. Yourself, Chris Plant from The Verge, the Minsker Bros,
and Daddy, most of the Minsker family,
the Minsker clan, the family Minsk, and my friend J.W. Freeman, who made our amazing theme music because he's very talented, and his lovely wife Cinta, and it was just great to be sitting on the end of this row and seeing a lot of people's like first ever exposure to like live independent wrestling, and just look over and watch everyone's reactions to things.
Yeah, there were a lot of good reactions to some great stuff.
Because this show started off with the hottest fire of Zack Sabre Jr. versus Chris Hero. And it started off with those two because they had to peace out to go to the WrestleCon Super Show, because both of those guys are wrestling like 3 times that day. But
I haven't watched a wrestling match with people. I mean, I knew compared to even to NXT, I knew literally nothing about anybody here. I still had a great time, but after that Chris Hero, Zack Sabre Jr. match, I was like, I need to get on internet and learn everything about these two dudes. because that fight was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it set the bar perhaps too high for the rest of the evening.
It was the best fight of the night. There was other cool stuff that happened.
Yeah.
But that was the best fight of the night. One of the best fights I've seen like live. Chris Hero, man, what a dude. He sells everything.
Yeah, he's awesome. And Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be in the Global Cruiserweight Series on WWE Network. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of that dude in July.
What about Chris Hero? I want good things for him.
Okay, Chris Hero was in NXT.
I know.
For a couple years.
I've heard the weird alt universe shit about him originally being in the Shield.
Oh yeah, okay. You can go ahead and feel free to be happy for Chris Hero because he is currently doing really well. He's a very big star in Japan right now. He's doing great, and he has remade his own image, and I believe he has designs on sort of being like the present day Dusty Rhodes, which is really cool.
Dig it.
But I was telling I don't remember if I told you about this, but Chris Hero goes through these evolutions where every couple of years he'll adapt a new move that he becomes like the master of. And like, you know, when it started out, he was like the master of like the cravat, and now and then it moved into like elbows, and then like elbows and knees, and then elbows and knees and kicks, and now he's doing pile drivers, and it's fucking rad.
Yeah, he
just murdered Zack Sabre with a pile driver or two, just destroyed that twink.
Yeah.
So hairless and lithe. I mean,
there were a lot. I don't know if there were 8 matches. I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think
we're not going to talk about all of them. No. There were 2 I wasn't even looking at.
Yeah, there was one. The whole point. I almost called it Point Break just because it has that
Catch
Surfer
Point.
Bro.
Catch Point.
Catch Point. Yeah. That stuff was fine.
Yeah.
I like Matt Riddle. It seemed like everybody else did too.
Yeah, he's good. He's great.
He did good in a hurry too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Shine match wasn't so great, but I think they were.
Here's my one-word review of the Shine women's title match. Woof.
Because Evil East was supposed to be in it,
right? And
then I guess they had to find somebody to replace her in a hurry, and just like I don't know.
So that was the first of 2 like baffling. Like,
the Evolve Championship match is one of the worst things I've ever one of the worst wrestling matches I've ever seen, televised or otherwise.
Griffin officially not a fan of grapple fuck.
Oh no!
It was Sammy Callahan versus Timothy Thatcher, and at that point in the evening, if you're completely unfamiliar with either of those men, yes, I imagine it is just not what you're looking for at all.
It was boring as hell. It was like it seemed like a good. And I know this is wrong, but time stretched out in front of me like an infinite void. 3-hour long fucking acting class of a dude selling an arm injury.
Yeah,
and
I mean, that's the same thing that happened in the Mania main event. Is that Triple H is just like, I'm going to work Roman Reigns' arm for half an hour, and after in a 7-hour show, so it doesn't matter if it's good.
It was the shit afterwards of
But yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the Shine title match and the Evolve title match had like completely inscrutable storylines. Like the Shine match, they're like, Evil East isn't going to be here, so we have to find a new challenger. And some tiny lady came out,
and I was psyched for that.
Yeah, exactly. But she comes out and she's like, hey, you know what? I should probably be the challenger because here's my long list of bona fides. And
I was listening to it, and I was like, okay, and now I know things about this fighter, and I'll be very excited to watch her fight.
And she's like, I beat you. And she's like, so I should be the challenger. And then they drop kick her, and she rolls out of the ring, and the guy who was like, we need to find a new challenger was like, well, I guess it's not going to be her. Like, what? And then she was never heard of again.
Yeah, she got kicked in the Sarlacc pit or some shit.
Yeah, I think she rolled under the ring and then just stayed there.
Can you even, because I would embarrass myself if I tried to explain what happened after the Evolve Championship match. Okay, can you try and walk everybody through it?
All right, so Catch Point is, Drew Gulak is the leader of Catch Point, and his young boys are Hot Sauce Tracy Williams and Matt Riddle, who had a match against each other.
And now Fred Yehi, who joined?
Fred Yehi joined, and TJ Perkins is also a member of Catch Point. And Catch Point is sort of like a, we like the grapple fuck, and
it's some like
we're buddies.
It's some
bros.
dojo shit of we like the competition.
Yeah, it's like Cobra Kai shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they came out, Timothy Thatcher retained his title, and then all of Catchpoint came out, and they're like, look, you've been ducking us for a while. When am I going to get, like, Drew Gulak's like, you've been ducking me. When am I going to get my title shot that you owe me? When's Matt Riddle going to get his title shot that he's earned? When's Hot Sauce going to get his title shot that he's earned? We all have shit that, all 5 of us can make a claim to your title. And then Timothy Thatcher gets on the mic, and man, it was just one of the worst promos ever. But he was like very slow, and he was like something to the effect of like, I won't keep this title until I've earned. His exact words were, until I've earned my redemption. Yeah,
what the fuck are you What the fuck are you talking about?
And then he left the title belt in the ring and left. And then Drew Gulak like just picked it up. He's like, cool,
just fucking took it.
Cool, I'm good. And then but what was the most hilarious is like after the show, Drew Gulak and all of Catchpoint are at their merch table, and Drew Gulak just had the title belt in front of him at the merch table. He's like taking pictures with people. He's like, "What's up? It's my belt."
Just to walk you through, just real quick, abridged, what happened is Drew Gulak said, you haven't fought my Super Friend team yet, so when are you going to fight my Super Friend team, current holder of the title? And the current holder of the title said, I'm going to give up this title until I've earned my redemption. It was like they were having 2 fucking different conversations. It didn't make any sense. I feel like even if I was like deep into Evolve, I still would have been like, I don't get what they're going for here. And as somebody who like has never heard of any of these dudes ever, it was like, that was the worst. And they delivered all those lines to complete silence. Like nobody was like, yeah, get him, Drew. Like everybody was completely baffled.
Yeah. And also
that's so disappointing because I like all of those people.
Right.
Yeah, they were all great. Yeah.
Also, Terry Funk and Mick Foley and Sabu were there.
Yes, that was fun.
Well, what was really hilarious is like they're like, we're here to present an award to Terry Funk, and they play Terry Funk's awesome music, and he comes out and he's like, oh, thanks. And then like Sabu's music hit, and Sabu comes out. He threatens to like brain Terry Funk with a chair, but then they hug, and then like they start. So Sabu comes out, and then they hug, and then like it starts playing "Born to Be Wild." And, like, I didn't pick up on it. I just thought it was, like, some Poochie shit that was happening. Like, hey, we're friends now. Bam, 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 bam.
Coming in Wild Hogs 3.
Yes. But then Mick Foley came out. And that was very cool. Very fun. Mm-hmm. And then some slapnuts came out and they wrecked him. Yeah.
I really liked the... Yeah. I want to get to that final match, but we have
to talk about...
The Fatal 4-Way.
Yes, it was the Fatal 4-Way for the FIP title, and possibly the highlight of the evening, if it's not the Hero versus Zack Sabre Jr. match, is all of Maxwell us Chicago. Being introduced to Maxwell Chicago.
Holy shit. It's Caleb Conley, Gary J, Jason Cade, who is also fucking fantastic.
Yeah, Jason Cade. Awesome.
And Maxwell Chicago. I feel bad talking as much about, like... I left that event talking about Maxwell Chicago when Jason Cade was putting in some work up there. Mm-hmm. Very, very acrobatic man. Lots of good slams.
I went up to Maxwell Chicago after the match. He was selling his merch, and I was like, "Look, I gotta say, I had never heard of you before tonight. I had never seen a second of you. I am all in. I am your biggest fan."
Yeah,
you are my guy.
He wore a suit that was made out of wrestling wear material,
but it was a tuxedo.
It was a tuxedo made out of like spandex and stretchy wrestling fabric,
like a morph suit.
It was like a tuxedo morph suit, which is
I believe he came out to the lounge version of "Smells Like Teen Spirit."
Yes.
And
his whole shtick was like that he was a incompetent clown man. Who is capable of doing the most basic wrestling maneuvers until he would actually like suplex a dude, and it was like he's actually incredibly talented. But his whole thing is like he's try to climb up on the top ropes, and like couldn't get his leg up onto the second rope, and so he'd try, but it's like his tuxedo would keep him from doing it.
Yeah, he's like a cruiserweight that's afraid of heights.
At one point,
can't do jumps.
there were all three of the other dudes were like laying down outside the ring. And he turns to the crowd and yells, "High risk maneuver!" And then like takes a run at the turnbuckle and then it takes him 45 seconds to climb over all the ropes, gingerly hop down from the ring, and then essentially fall over on the three dudes. And everybody like stands up screaming, "This is awesome."
So great. And also here's a fun little tidbit about a rumor that I heard during the weekend. Is that Maxwell Chicago might be in the Glover Cruiserweight series.
Oh, man, don't you tease me.
He might be.
If there was a scout at that show, that's an obvious, like, oh, yeah, him. That's easy.
Well, there was a WWE scout at every show all weekend.
Yeah, it surprised me.
Yeah, but yeah, oh my God, Maxwell Chicago. Get in on the ground floor of this guy right now.
Jason Cade, too. Jason Cade. He was one of the most talented, fighters I saw the whole night.
Yeah, Jason Cade is like the next Rich Swann on the Indies. He's rad. But Maxwell Chicago,
have me roll in.
Yeah, he only has like 1,300 Twitter followers right now. Like, get in on him. Be there first. Anyway, that's 6-man. Some people jumped off balconies.
Oh, and one last. There was an Anything Goes match that was also really good. A lot of cheers.
Yeah. The no DQ match.
Ethan Page and Anthony Nese.
Yes. Both very good, very brutal. Some hardcore brutality there. No blood, which I appreciated. But anyway, 6-man. Kota Ibushi, Will Ospreay,
Johnny Gargano.
Yeah. So it was Johnny Gargano, TJ Perkins, and Kota Ibushi against the European team of Will Ospreay, Marty Scurll, and Tommy End. And
what a great ass name, Tommy Scurll.
Marty Scurll.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Still great.
People who listen to Rudo Radio know how much I'm all for Marty Scurll and Tommy End, and that I like Will Ospreay also. And I was a little bit surprised that this one was like I mean, I expected it to start slow, but I was sort of expecting like crazier shit, which is kind of dumb and very entitled for me to say, considering that Kota Ibushi and Will Ospreay totally moonsaulted off a fake building onto a bunch of people.
Yeah. I sort of thought the same thing, and it seemed like everybody was waiting for even the I forget the tag. I think it was Johnny Gargano, like when he was going to tag Kota Ibushi, was like teasing it, like pointing to the crowd and pointing at Kota Ibushi, like, you guys want this guy? You guys want this guy? And everybody was like losing their minds, like, yes, clearly we want Kota Ibushi. Yes, obviously that's who we're all sort of waiting to see. I think the whole fight was great, but like Kota Ibushi and Will Ospreay just going at it for the last they were the stars of the last 5 minutes of the match.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was the high point.
I liked your you got a good wet stunts vine.
Oh yeah. I captured a lot of videos of men jumping off things they shouldn't be on this weekend.
Perfect. All right, so let's get to the main event, the brisk 7 hours of WrestleMania 32. Griffin, why don't you tell us about your experience of getting into the building?
I was so optimistic when we got to Arlington, which is, as far as I can tell, a city built around AT&T Stadium. Right. Parking was not a big deal, and we tailgated for a couple hours. You swung by, just had some bros, some buds, some suds, had some good time in the sun, and then we had a bad time in the sun. Because we waited in line first we got in a line. There was no event staff. I didn't see event staff for the first hour that we were waiting around, and there was no clear entry into the building. They were 45 minutes late opening doors, and I was relying on Twitter to find out what the fuck was going on, because again, can't stress this enough, there was just nobody out there. And I know you have to keep in mind the scale of this thing. This is not me complaining that I wasn't able to get some good seats at a concert. This was a thing that 100,000 fucking people were at, that there were, no kidding, by the time I got in, I had seen maybe a dozen event staff people outside. It was absolute madness. So there was this one line going in one of the entrances to the building, waited in for 45 minutes, didn't move at all, and then the line just sort of exploded, and people started waiting in a giant herd. There was no line at all. There was nobody even knew where the line was going. And I can't tell you like how exasperating it was. Like we were waiting in that hot Texas sun, and just people were like walking up into the fuck pile in front of us and like being in front of us. And so like everybody was so frustrated about it. It was 45 minutes after when doors were supposed to open and 15 minutes until the show was about to start. And as far as we could tell, like nobody had gotten in. And so we like bailed on that line and waited in another line that took like an hour maybe to get through. Altogether, we were like outside for like 2 hours, and it was like uncoordinated, absolutely miserable. And even though we got in like a half hour, we got in like, because the pre-show started at 4, right? We got in at like 4:45.
So you got in like right after the Ryback Kalisto
match? I saw the end. I saw
okay.
Kalisto pin Ryback. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I literally walked in and I looked at the TV on the concession stand to my right and I saw the pin. Got it. That's it.
Well,
so yeah, I missed that whole match, and like I get really frustrated when like event planning is really, really hard, and I totally get that, especially on something this scale. But it frustrates me that like the answer to this event planning, like this logistics issue, is going to be difficult. Your answer can't be like, well, fuck it, let's just not do any. Like everybody was so mad, and despite the fact that I missed that whole match and got in 45 minutes after the pre-show started, there were lots of people who missed the ladder match, which was one of my favorite things of the night. The whole thing was a fucking disaster. And the people what's really frustrating is the people on the, because I had a buddy who was sitting down like 5 rows from the ring. The people who were sitting on the floor on the seats that you were spending a shit ton of money to get were the last ones in, because that's where the biggest bottleneck was. So there were people who missed the entire pre-show, people who missed like the 10-way women's match, people who missed like the first fight of the night, people who were like missing good chunks of the WrestleMania that they had spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to go to. It's fucking like, it's fucking inexcusable.
Yeah.
That's my rant about WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you, and I'm glad that you were one of the lucky ones in that you only missed 90,
if I missed that ladder match,
if
I missed that ladder match, I would have had a fucking horrible time. Just thinking about like, because those tickets, I'm not kidding, like those tickets are like $300, and you think about like how many other people paid more for their tickets and missed more than I did. Like I had so many people like on Twitter being shitheads, like, oh wow, I bet you're really torn up about missing the Ryback and Kalisto fight. Like, oh, you mean the one I paid $300 motherfucking dollars to see? Like, yeah, I'm pissed about missing a second of this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems, honestly, like every year there are some serious hiccups with WrestleMania, but I think this is probably the worst that it has been.
Yeah, the amount, there are local paper, because I live in Texas, and there's like local papers, and the thing they're writing about isn't, hey, WrestleMania, it was big and great. It was, people are fucking pissed at the AT&T Stadium because they missed a chunk of WrestleMania.
Just a giant 72-point headline that says shit show.
Yeah. I think the crowd was shitty, right? Like I think the WrestleMania crowd by and large was like a bit more. I mean, they got into the good shit, right? But they were really hostile about a lot of things. And like, dude, you get people waiting outside in that hot Texas sun for 2-3 hours, and you have them miss the shit that they paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars to see. Like, yeah, that's gonna be a hostile crowd. That you did not warm them up good, except for the fact that a few of them probably got fucking heat stroke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, that's my behind the scenes look at I had a very good time, but like, just a extremely super rough start.
Yeah. I'm very sorry about that.
Well, it's your fucking fault, Bill.
I agree. You're not going to catch me saying it wasn't my fault. I'm the corporate shill, remember?
They have football games there all the time.
Like every Sunday. That's
what boggles my mind. So this has to be like, I know there is a considerable amount of people there, but they have fucking football games there all of the time. This had to be like, I didn't know if this was like a WWE didn't spring, like, were they the one putting up for the event stat? Like, this couldn't be a gross miscalculation of the number of people that are going to be there, because they've had fucking... So they've had press conferences talking about how much ass they're going to kick in the having people there department.
Yeah.
All I saw on Twitter was that there was a Wi-Fi problem, so they couldn't scan people's tickets.
Yeah.
And it just created this huge backlog of people where it was like, sorry, you can't come inside, and now everything's going to be confusing and terrible and not at all casual.
Yeah,
and it also affected. I'm going to go ahead and go out there and say it affected WrestleMania negatively as a whole. This ticket thing, because they had to move the Dre into the proper show, right?
No,
Was
that had already been a thing.
Oh, okay. I thought that pivot was like they were like
no.
racing to move it because everybody was getting to their seats like super duper late.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that had been moved to the main show a few days prior. But
it's a good thing they did because they gave them 45 minutes to just like do their talk show shit, and I ain't mad I missed that.
Right. But if the rumors about like the power outage and the Wi-Fi issues for scanning tickets were true, that was definitely like a huge part of the problem. I think another part of the problem was probably that the football, because this is how it works for like baseball seasons at stadiums. So I can only imagine that football seasons at stadiums are the same. Is that the people who work football games at that stadium are seasonal employees, and then they go away. And it's not football season. So I think that when they were restaffing, they didn't get all the same people.
Yeah.
And
if the Wi-Fi thing is true, that's fine. But like speaking experientially, I in the 2 hours, it wasn't until I got to like the security line and the metal detector that I finally started seeing event staff be like, it was also like criminally understaffed.
Right.
Anyway, let's talk about wrestling.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, how was that fucking Kalisto Ryback match? Because I still haven't watched it.
I mean, it wasn't anything super special, but it was good. I thought it was fun. Kalisto had some bomb-ass new gear. He had a new, like, giant birdie mask. I think that's how I can best describe it, right, Mark?
It was pretty Lucha Underground looking.
Yeah.
Looked like it fit right in with that. It just like attached to his actual mask, and he was able to pull it off, and he had like this big dragon armor looking shit.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. He looked like Woodstock.
It's not exactly the badass look that you want to go for.
They look pretty badass. It was surprising.
Yeah,
it was like badass Woodstock.
Like if Woodstock was a Mortal Kombat character.
When he won, did he do the thing where he just did that like step in place dance? It was like head up in the air.
That's exactly what he did.
Oh man, now I'm just thinking about Ryback being dressed like Snoopy, with big ears.
How dope would it be if a wrestler came out and their entrance music was the fucking Vince Guaraldi trio, like Charlie Brown Christmas album?
Yeah. Or even Linus and Lucy.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So good. It's probably in the public domain by now, right? Gotta be.
I think Vince Guaraldi's been dead for a while, yeah. I actually don't know.
That match was good. I thought that the 10 Divas tag match was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I like a match that's just like a fucking spot showcase, which is what this was.
Yeah. Every woman got a chance to just do like showcase like the couple things that they were the best at. In Lana's case, it was shoving Brie off the top rope.
Yeah.
But I thought all of Bad and Blonde, their entrance gear was fucking dynamite.
Oh, it was so
who had
great.
the like sick ass cape?
I think that was Lana, right? Mark? The very long cape? That was Lana.
Yes. Sorry, I was too busy freaking out about Dark Emma's final blood elf form.
Yes. It was all just fucking spectacular.
Yeah, I missed some of that. I missed most of the entrances. This was when I was finding my seat. This is a play-by-play of Griffin not seeing parts of WrestleMania.
Did you ever make it into a store at any point?
I did. I didn't get any merch. Was not in love with. I mean, I think we talked about this at the WWN match, but like I think so much of the WWE gear looks fucking goofy. Like I wanted to get a Shinsuke Nakamura shirt, and they announced that they had their first shirt, and it is like the dumbest looking shit.
It's not good.
It says like strong style has arrived, but it's in a fucking like full blown like no fear font. Like
it looks like a shirt that you would buy at Target in 2001.
Yeah. So instead, I just bought that King of Strong Style shirt that literally everybody that I saw at WrestleMania is wearing.
Oh, I wasn't aware you could still get them. Where'd you get yours?
Just from some fucking back alley website. It fell off a WWE truck.
It was actually on Silk Road.
Yeah, I would love to not buy my fucking WWE merch off the dark web.
Well, you've been looking for a reason to spend those Bitcoin.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, I sold some meth and I traded it in for a Shinsuke Nakamura t-shirt.
I'm getting offloading all this Bitcoin on Shinsuke Nakamura bootleg gear.
Yeah. I thought this fight was fun though. I'm glad I caught this one.
Yes. Man, Brie Bella put on the swankest ass yes lock of all time.
Yeah.
Man, what a transition. Like, I can't remember a Daniel Bryan transition that was that great. So.
Well, did you see that Daniel Bryan tweeted out a gif of it? And he's like, Brie just did this better than I ever have.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's the end for her, right?
Yeah, no, that's a great, that was her retirement match. And what a great way to go out, is being like, yeah, fuck you. I'm going to do
I know we'll talk about this, but did she announce on Raw that she's...
She didn't announce it on Raw, but she basically announced via Instagram afterward.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go out, go out a winner at Mania with that friggin' transition.
Yeah.
That's the way to...
And then get lifted up on the shoulders of everyone, excluding your broken neck sister.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah. They're like, Nikki was like starting to lift her, and then everyone was like, no, chill.
No, dude.
You were wearing a very big neck brace.
This is fun for the Dudley boys. And a lot of people don't hit that Z, and I think it's important.
No, it is. It's vital.
Versus the Uzos. I snuck out, because there's a concession stand right outside my section door. I snuck out to grab a burger real quick.
Yeah.
And it did take them a while to make the burger, so that was on them. But when I came back, it was over, because that match lasted fucking 5 minutes.
Yeah, you here's a rundown of everything that you missed.
I did see I saw the table stuff, and that was fun, and that's like literally it, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
You saw it.
Yep, you missed nothing. That match was nothing.
Which I think was the point. It was like, at that point, it was like, okay, well, go get burgers. Go to the bathroom.
They were probably pressed.
Just happening.
5 minutes is so short. They were probably pressed for time just because of how much of a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I would guess that Kalisto and Ryback went on later than they were supposed to, because usually they want to like impress with these pre-show matches a little more. Right. So it seems weird to be like, okay, Usos Dudleys, you just go through the motions.
So those 3 matches were the USA fights, right? Was the USA that...
Kalisto Ryback was only on the network. That was the first hour. The second hour was simulcast on USA Network, so they got the 10 Divas and the Usos Dudleys.
So, man, I switched to USA at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And was almost immediately interrupted the women's match with a commercial. And then I'm like, okay, and I look on Twitter, and people are like posting all these GIFs and talking about how much ass Eva Marie's kicking, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? So then I had left the network on, I switched back, and there were like no interruptions on the network the rest of the time. Like the show had started. They just did those little, 1 minute WWE commercials or whatever.
Why would you switch to USA Network?
I just wanted to see, what was going on. Like, it's okay. It's the first time doing it. And
I'm glad that
I thought they treated like WWE does.
I'm glad that you were able to file that field report for us, Mark. Thank you.
I mean, that is good. I'm curious how it works, right? Because like the rest of the shit they can bump around. Like if they have to start the show an hour late, whatever. Like it's not ideal, but it's a pay-per-view, so they can do it whenever they want. Mm-hmm. USA Network, they can't like bump stuff around. So if they have to have the tabletop people go for 45 minutes because everything is a disaster outside, that's fine, except for now you're cutting into that USA Network time, and you cannot move around that.
Yeah,
I think that I don't think that show is as hot as a WWE Network subscription seller as maybe USA thought it was, because apparently half of it was the fucking Dudley Boys, v Usos.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? Better stuff, I guess.
Better stuff.
Well, let's get to the show itself. It started with the best fucking match. Well, not the best match on WrestleMania, but man, it was so good. Fucking awesome. And
I just
also
love a reliable ladder match.
Also, like just that match was so good for all of the people involved. Like everyone in that match was a goddamn star.
Yeah.
Like, and Sin Cara rehabbed him entirely in one night, and he had the craziest. And he's gonna dive.
Yeah. Rehab is a fun verb to use because he's also going to need it, like with his liquefied body.
No, but like that's the thing about Sin Cara is like he always gets injured and like fucks everything up, and like this match of all matches is the match that he like did everything flawlessly on.
Yeah,
but like when he landed that just fall off the ladder into a springboard, not only was that the craziest shit ever, but his sell of that was like one of my favorite things of the entire night.
He's exceptional.
He just landed on his face and just acted like he had died.
I know for a while there was like, Twitch, just please Twitch a little.
Stardust had a really good ladder fall too. That was, but I think that's his second in a row. I think he did that last WrestleMania too, if I'm remembering correctly. He took a fall off a ladder and hit another ladder, and I thought like, there's a snuff film.
Stardust had threatened to go away if he didn't win that ladder match, so we might be seeing Cody Rhodes return at some point. But his tribute to Dusty Rhodes was awesome.
I mean, it makes sense because like Stardust has purposely not connected himself to Dusty at all.
Yeah. Except
to say like, you know, I have no father, and that one little backstage thing they did before WWE like forgot they were telling that story. So the fact that he had like 3 different tributes going for him during this ladder match is probably a good indication that it's like Cody's coming back.
Yeah. Sami Zayn diving through a ladder, then like sprinting into the ring to dive onto Kevin.
Oh man, so great!
And the first showdown when like everybody evacuated the ring, leaving Kevin Owens there, and Zayn diving back in, like that was a really early high point for the crowd because everybody lost their minds when those two like had their showdown.
Also, Sami Zayn giving Kevin Owens a half and half onto the fucking ladder. Then Kevin Owens just laying there with his ass up and his head stuck in the ladder.
No kidding. There was a part of me that thought that Sami Zayn was going to set up 2 ladders, stack 2 ladders up in between them, and like it would be like a fucking atomic bomb went off. And like that would I seriously thought they were going to do a reprise of that, except in reverse, and it was going to be the hottest shit ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if Sami Zayn could pile drive Kevin Owens. That'd be actually a pretty incredible physical feat, but he's a big boy.
Kevin Owens is is very, very low to the ground. Has a very good dense.
He's a dense man.
Yeah. But just the finish was so hot with that, and then Sammy getting pushed off by the Miz, and then the Miz just taking so long to gloat.
So fucking good, man. That dude can sell it.
He's the best, man. He's just the best. And then Zack Ryder out of nowhere, getting his WrestleMania moment. So good.
That was very exciting. For me, it was me turning to my friend and saying like, hey, who is that?
I love Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens beating each other up so much that neither of them could win the match that they really easily one of them should have won.
Right.
Like just getting too obsessed with beating the snot out of each other. And then Miz is just shittily climbing up the ladder like, oh man, time for the Miz. This is going to be great.
And that was the last finish that everybody at WrestleMania liked.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, a bummer, but I mean everything.
I mean, I'm not saying the rest of the matches were bad or whatever, but like that was the only finish that like the crowd like stood up and exploded in applause.
Right.
Like, it was the only like good surprising climax that like went to a person that people liked.
Right. Because AJ Styles lost in the next match.
Yeah.
Great match.
After using his like supposedly invincible shit.
Yeah.
That Chris Jericho was just like, nah, whatever.
I really like the finish. Him going for the springboard and catching that codebreaker in the face.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. Very cool.
I don't remember a lot from that fight. Again, we drove home to Austin from Dallas, which is about a 3.5 hour drive. And we managed to get out of the parking lot at the stadium around like midnight. So like all told, we got home at about 4 a.m. So we had a lot of time to unpack the show. And like talking about it, like we couldn't remember the Jericho AJ Styles fight. We couldn't remember like the specifics of the tag team fight. We couldn't remember like basically any of the pre-shows just because it was like, it's so much fucking wrestling. It's so much wrestling.
It's a lot of wrestling.
It's a decent amount of wrestling.
Yeah. Again, 7 hours is just too long. 7 hours is too long. We think that 3 hours for Raw is too long. So I mean, 7 hours is more than twice that.
I go to indie shows all the time that are 5 hours long, and if the last like hour is not fire, I just want to go home.
Yeah,
the whole time. I'm like, I love all these people in the ring, but I really wish like they would just flash pin through the rest of this card.
So like we'll get to the final match, but like there was a lot of booing going on, whatever. That shit is like compulsory now.
Right.
I didn't hear any booing.
Well, here's the thing. Like looking back on it, it was actually a really quiet match, except for like when Roman Reigns would do some shit, like people would boo because like that's what you do. When Triple H would do some shit, dead silence because everybody was so tired of that. I mean, obviously the match was like nobody really cared about it for a lot of reasons, but I honestly think it at the end of a 7-hour event, people are just tired.
They
like
use the last of
literally
their
yawning,
energy.
sleepy tired. Yeah.
They used the last of their energy to freak out about Stephanie leading a skeleton army to the ring.
Jesus. Yeah. All right. Anyway.
We'll get there. We'll get there. It's settled down.
Sorry.
New Day having the best entrance of the night, probably.
Sorry, did you say of the night or of all time?
Either way. They came out of a giant box of cereal with Dragon Ball Z armor on. And Xavier Woods had a tail. It was real good.
Yeah, I thought that was the best part of that match. The match was fine, but like...
The match was fine. The best part was, and we didn't hear it, I actually looked it up. I watched a little bit of WrestleMania when I got home. Michael Cole referencing Vegeta.
Oh, my God. Oh, I didn't hear that either.
Michael Cole says, "That's clearly Vegeta." And I was like, yeah, wow. Holy shit.
He has a handwritten note from Xavier Woods in the margins of his script.
It was right next to the one that said, call them superstars now.
Yes. I thought the match was like short and fun and fine, and a little surprised that after all that touting of it being a 4-on-3 handicap match, it was not. But the post-match antics were the most fun.
Oh, so great.
Okay. You didn't like it. You hated it. Griffin hated it.
And no, it's fun.
Shawn Michaels came out in his ring gear.
Yes.
And then Mick Foley, and then Steve Austin came out.
Yeah, it was great. And I like that shit, and it was fun. And they were dancing, and that was fun. And then they got Steve Austin to dance for like a few seconds. Uh-huh. And he loved it.
Yes.
And then he dropped a stunner on Xavier Woods, and whatever. Oh, I do want to give a special shout out to Rusev, who caught a stunner and bounced 17 feet into the air. Like he was in the video game Street Fighter and had just lost a fight in slow motion and was flying backwards.
Yes.
He mansies that dude. That was an amazing sell. Xavier Woods did a great job too. Xavier Woods did it. He was kind of the star of the fight, which is interesting because usually it's just Kofi doing stunts and shit, and then Big E throwing a guy. Xavier Woods was in the ring most of the time, which I was psyched to see. But here's the thing: New Day is they're working so hard. They're working so hard to get over, and they have, and everybody loves them, and they're this new hot fresh thing that everybody loves, and then literally it's the most WrestleMania shit of these three dudes who aren't in the game anymore, who are just these relics, and not to undersell what they did, but it felt weird that they came out oh, you've been putting out some work, right? This is your big WrestleMania thing, right? Okay, well, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. I don't know. That part was disappointing. Watching them wail in the League of Nations, I was like, hell yeah, but
that stuff bothers me a lot of the time. But and I said this to someone on Twitter during it. They're like, "Oh man, that was cool until Xavier got stunnered." And I'm like, if you could stun Xavier, you would. Yeah. If he was just dancing in front of you, very insistently being annoying like he was, and you could do it.
My bigger thing is he probably the chance to catch a Stone Cold Stunner from Steve Austin during WrestleMania. If you're and those especially Xavier Woods, his enthusiasm for this thing is so potent and so obvious. The reason I didn't feel super bad is he probably was such a big Stone Cold fan that was very exciting. But it was the first of a few times during the night where the old guard came out and just shit all over the new guard.
Yeah, I thought that this was a little bit different than that old that traditional WrestleMania Attitude Era people shitting on the current people. I thought this was different because I'm not sure that they showed a lot of it on TV or on the network, but New Day did help with that beatdown, that League of Nations beatdown. On the outside of the ring, they were helping to pummel the League of Nations. But also that they got in the ring and were celebrating with the guys until Xavier Woods crossed a line. Because in years past, Steve, they would have come down and done their finishers to the League of Nations, and then also done it to all of the New Day, and then pissed on their prone bodies.
Yeah, that was the line I had kind of drawn for myself was okay, if they also stun Big E and Kofi, then like I am out on this segment.
And also,
it was
like,
just Xavier. So.
I really loved that on Raw, Xavier Woods was like, upon review of the tape, that was my bat. Like,
I do love that because like there was nobody there who thought that Xavier wasn't about to get a Stone Cold. Like what's the alternative? Fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin having a fucking dance party right there? No.
I was hoping that he would gyrate Big E style, like not do like a Texas two-step. Like,
well, that was Foley's thing, and he did great.
Yeah, for sure. No holds barred street fight.
Fuck that fight. that was my biggest disappointment of the night.
Yeah,
just
for
fuck,
sure.
Just fuck everything about that.
I think it was
fight.
everybody's biggest disappointment of the night. The reports are that Dean Ambrose asked to do a lot crazier stuff and was denied.
How about any fucking crazier, like any fucking crazy thing at all?
Even if they didn't do like a crazy thing that involved blood and Dean Ambrose getting ripped in half, like, why did you show the chainsaw and the bat with the barbed wire and give them their own segments for the previous 2 weeks and then do nothing with them?
Nothing. I saw two different tweets that point out two amazing things. First of all, there was more chainsaw usage at NXT TakeOver when Finn came out with the demon chainsaw than there was in this match that was chainsaw centric. Mm-hmm. The other thing that somebody pointed out is they spent more time outside of the ring in the fucking Hell in a Cell match than they did in a Fight Club street fight. There was more blood in like two of the NXT TakeOver matches than there was in this fucking no holds barred street fight where Dean Ambrose hit Brock Lesnar like 6 times with a shitty kendo stick. Yeah. And then Brock Lesnar did 13 patented dude throws, and then that was like it.
Yeah, the highlight of the match for me was the 10,000-foot screen counting the suplexes.
Correcting people at one point because they missed one suplex, and everyone was like, 7! And then the screen popped up, no, it's 8, idiots.
It said 8, nerds. Yeah,
this might have been my most anticipated match of the night, and I'm not a fucking idiot. I know that he wasn't going to gore Brock Lesnar with a chainsaw, and when he pulled it up, I was like, he's about to get kicked and drop it. That's fine, whatever.
Right.
If even if those two props hadn't come into play, which is like, first of all, bullshit, because like there was his fucking red wagon, like Matrix armory, like was such a big story point. Like that's fine. If Dean Ambrose had done fuck all during this fight. Am I missing something? He hit him with a kendo. No. There were 2 different kendo stick assaults that were like, that doesn't hurt his insane sandwich body. Of course it doesn't.
He did hit him in his like Smaug armor, like in his tiny, very vulnerable balls.
I don't know. We don't know how big. But let's not be.
Oh, sorry. Well, I meant like relative to the rest of his body.
It might be huge. You have no idea. It's just like
she's got him all like bound up in there.
That fight could have been so cool. Yes. And I get this Brock Lesnar's invincible narrative that you got to get going.
Right. But that's why you got to use a chainsaw.
Yeah.
But Dean Ambrose could have done so much shit in this fight. And it was a fucking comedy fight, which is fine. There's even a good way to do that. But this absolutely wasn't it. When there were more savage fights in a just like nothing grudge match at NXT TakeOver than there was in a thing that you've titled the No Holds Barred Street Fight. Like, you have fucked up.
Yeah. Like I said, like, Dean wanted to do a bunch of crazy shit and got turned down for it, and I think that the reason for that is because they wanted Shane McMahon to have, like, the one crazy thing that happened all night to the detriment of this fight.
That's fine. I don't even need him to get thrown through a ladder. I don't need him to, like, throw 16 chairs at Brock Lesnar. I just wanted him to do, some wrestling.
Right.
I would have liked him to just swing Barbie at one, like just swing it. Like, don't just have it and then get kicked. And like even if Lesnar just, grabbed his arm and took it from him and then just looked at it, like Brock Lesnar holding Barbie would have been.
What if he had snatched it away and then just eaten it?
Or just stale Jimmy John's bun and just like slammed it.
No, or just unhinged his jaw and like put it in his mouth and then like slurp off the barbed wire part and just like toss the bat down like he's eating like a cotton candy or something. Like he's like the rat at the fair in Charlotte's Web.
I don't think that.
Well, now I want that to happen.
just knowing that WWE wouldn't allow these two men to punch each other, I don't think they would allow simulated baseball bat fellatio as you have described it.
Right.
I
wasn't talking like oh.
Good Lord.
I was just talking about like a cartoon, like when a cartoon guy
eating spaghetti off a fork.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Or like when like Tom or Jerry like puts like a lollipop in their mouth, and then like the lollipop takes the shape of their face, and they pull the stick out. Like
fun.
that.
Yeah. Just fun. I mean, this match was a fucking cartoon. Like it was like them throwing each other around, and then Dean Ambrose like, haha, it doesn't hurt when you throw me, haha.
Well, let's just all agree that the one highlight of this match was Paul Heyman's face when Dean Ambrose pulled a chainsaw out from under the ring.
Oh, it was great. And he got like stuck that way for like 5 minutes too.
But this also established in canon that Dean Ambrose does not understand how simple machines work.
Although he turned on the chainsaw when he got it.
Yeah, well, I think that when Terry Funk set it down on the table, he had already like primed it and like flipped the switch on.
In it.
He's like, all you got to do is push the button, buddy, and like stumbles away.
Let's, as a thought experiment, just sort of explore the alt universe that Chris Hero is in the Shield. This is the alt universe we're in, where Dean Ambrose lights up that chainsaw and murders Brock Lesnar in front of everybody.
Right.
What's his character after that?
A murderer.
Right, but let's okay, in this alt universe,
he just gets arrested.
Okay,
and then he goes to prison.
Brock Lesnar signed a release that says like, this is I'm sacrificing my life for WWE Studios. I just want to put on the best fight ever, and if that means that Dean Ambrose has to cut me in half, like I'm Brock Lesnar, I'm pretty sure I would just sort of regrow whatever he cuts off.
Right.
I think Dean Ambrose would be a pretty sick character.
Yeah,
I think
guy who has murdered a guy.
Yeah, like
it's just where do you go from there?
Well, just everyone else like from then on is like, well, I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to be in a no holds barred street fight with this guy. Singles match only, DQ in effect, rope breaks, the whole nine. And then you get like Dean Ambrose just running up behind people backstage with a chainsaw. Like, whereas most people like punch somebody in the back and then like throw him into like a wardrobe.
He just is a kill. He's a wild murderer that lives with the WWE, travels with him. He goes
like Renee Young's backstage, and she's like, "Hey, Dolph Ziggler, why don't you tell us what just happened when you lost that U.S. title match?" And Dolph Ziggler's like, "Well, Renee, I'll constantly put on the best show out there," and there's all of a sudden like Dolph Ziggler's head goes flying across the screen. Renee Young covered in gore.
This got dark.
No, you asked.
I guess it's my fault, yeah.
You asked. You told me to do it. Let's talk about a much more brutal match. The Women's Triple Threat Championship. Probably the best match of the night.
Yep.
Well, I mean...
Yep.
That or the ladder match. That or the ladder match, but yeah, definitely this match.
I wish there was more beating the fuck out of Ric Flair. Just like triple the amount of it that was in there.
I don't know how much beating Ric Flair can take at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
So Griffin was hoping that I would say that the thought experiment, he was hoping I would say that Dean Ambrose's character then immediately turns the chainsaw on Ric Flair.
I don't want Ric Flair to die. I just want him to go to jail for the rest of his natural life. I just, oh, God.
He got to kick him in the face, so,
That was very good, and that was very, very good. Mm-hmm. But, like, a million people have said it at this point. Like, the fight was so great, and I want to talk about it, but that ending was such fucking horseshit. The way we haven't even talked about the Women's Championship belt.
Unveiled the new Women's Championship. It looks sick as hell.
It's so good.
The term Divas has been retired with the exception of the show Total Divas, which is the name of a television show.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
They can't call it Total Women's Champions.
Right.
That would be weird.
Total Superstars.
It's funny because like I talked about that, and the last time I was on the show, I can talk about this now. I didn't know fucking anything about wrestling, and I know a little bit, but I was still like, man, they should really change that Divas thing and change the belt. So I guess you're welcome, everybody. I think they listened to that episode of Rudo Radio, and they're like, that Griffin guy's got some good ideas. Our belt does look like a fucking Mariah Carey album cover. We got to get rid of this. It looks stupid.
I think that the only thing that was missing from the women's title match and the unveiling of the new title is that after the women's championship match, they didn't all gather around an oil drum in the center of the ring and burn the Divas belt.
Yeah. What does happen to that belt?
It belongs in a museum.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Ric Flair finish, I was saying, or trying to say earlier, just fucking garbage. Like, you can't introduce you can't change the way that you do the stuff. And like, we're finally respecting the effort, the tremendous amount of effort, and the huge fan reaction to these fights, and then have it decided by a 115-year-old cheating piece of shit dude.
I love the match, and I think that the finish was real effective. Like, yeah, we all wanted to see Sasha Banks win the title at WrestleMania, but this is like, this tells a better story.
Yo, straight up, after that backwards double moonsault, I wanted Charlotte to win the match.
Right.
I'm glad she did.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Like, I've never been a big Charlotte fan. That was one of the tightest things I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, this match absolutely made Charlotte, and not like it made all three women for sure. Like, not that they needed help.
I wasn't even a big Becky Lynch fan. Before this started.
It made all three of them like bona fide, like legit, like this is the fucking future. Like, it's very clear we believe in this. Like, for sure. And like, Charlotte was the one that a lot of people, like, of the four horsewomen, like, she's the one that like gets the least credit, is the least. She
beats ass. Yeah. Like, she's so good.
Yeah. So this match, like, I believe like we all really wanted to see Sasha Banks win this. Sasha Banks is gonna win the title. She's gonna have WrestleMania moments in the future, probably singles matches, titles matches. She's gonna win the belt at WrestleMania in the future. Like, there's gonna be time for Sasha Banks. There's going to be time for the Sasha Banks story, but this was awesome. Like, I thought this was a really good decision because not only does it make all three stars, but having a fuck finish like that establishes Charlotte as like a true, like, oh, I want to fucking see her lose. Like, yeah.
But I guess like it's totally symbolic. The whole like old dude interfering with the first women's championship belt. But like again, this is the second time where a can't stress the super old guard dude interfered with this like rising star that is like earned and worked like their ass off for these accolades. Has interfered to like sort of determine, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a WrestleMania thing, and I guess I haven't watched enough of them. I might be speaking completely out of my ass right now, but like, I imagine that WWE treats WrestleMania as if it is the only thing that a lot of people watch of wrestling throughout the year, and so they want to fill it with as many familiar faces as they possibly can. Yeah. So like, I get that, but like, this is the second and arguably the worst time where somebody who's not wrestling anymore, who's just this historical artifact, like, shit all over this star, this current new exciting.
Ric Flair is a different situation because he's on Raw every Monday. He's working for the company who comes out with Charlotte every week, is shitty every week. This isn't like he came back for the first time in 5 years. Like some people, like, he is a character on the show, and his character is giant shithead you want to see kicked in the face. He's just like, he's playing his consistent role.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I just my thing is I just hate him so much.
Yeah,
but
the good news is like, it's gonna set up a situation where maybe we get the Sasha Charlotte one-on-one match. And when Rick goes for his, like, usual, he goes to do something, Becky comes out of nowhere to assist Sasha and she beats the shit out of Ric Flair.
She kisses him.
But it's her choice.
And then he turns into a beautiful prince.
No.
No?
I don't think we need a young, beautiful Ric Flair roaming the country.
No, I wasn't going to say beautiful Ric Flair, like a completely different person. Like, he's a cursed prince.
Holy shit!
That needs the kiss of agency from a woman who is in control of her own destiny.
What if he's actually 600 years old, just aging very slowly? When she kisses him, like the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, he ages super fast and kisses her.
He's already essentially 100% Mum-Ra.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Just fuck that old man. That's it.
Fuck him like crazy. There's gonna come a point, like, I would imagine within like the next like 3 to 4 months, there's gonna come a point where there's gonna be a match and one of these women is just going to kick the ever-loving shit out of Ric Flair, and then he's going to be off television forever.
Okay, I look forward to that. That sweet, sweet, come and get it day.
And then you're going to pin that GIF on your Twitter page. You're like, look at this old man get wrecked.
Part of the reason for the delay, too.
Yeah.
Part of the reason for the delay, too, is so many people are still cheering Rick.
Yeah.
So, like, you really have to build up the situation where everyone in the arena just wants to see him get his head kicked in, which is a very difficult, like, slow-moving process.
Hey, here's another weird thing that happened live in the arena. For the first time ever at a WWE event, the massive, gigantic screen was trying to, like, give people, like, chant prompts.
Yeah, like, that didn't go well at all.
During the New Day match, and then, like, they kept putting up woo on the screen, like, on the biggest screen. Like, if they had just limited it to, like, the smaller side screens, I would have been a lot more okay with it.
But there were a lot of folks who were using that screen as the way. We were sitting in what they called the silver section,
right?
Which meant like the third of 5 sections, so wasn't like super fancy or anything. But we were close enough to see the ring. But in order to see like more detailed stuff, you look at the screen that's 10 stories long. Right. And so when they would put that up, they would put that during the fucking Brock Lesnar fight. It was infuriating because you're watching the fight and you see Dean Ambrose get flung through the air, and as soon as he hits the ground, that image that you were just watching disappears and it's replaced with a giant number 1. Right. And it's like, that's cool, but like I didn't even see the dude hit the ground. But not only that, the tempo that they were showing that shit was completely off in some cases. So it'd be like, the word new would appear, and then like 3 seconds, and then day. Yeah. And then like, so it'd be like new day rocks, new day. Like nobody does it like that.
And also like the woos would be like, it would cut to a Charlotte colored background with a tiny W. And then like 2 seconds later, the ooh would appear.
So it would be like, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, it was real bad. Especially because like they kept doing it like during the finish. Like she just kept putting on the figure 8 and like whoever was running the giant board was like, people are probably going to want to say woo right now.
They also did this weird multi-view like either 2 or 3 split images, trying to show like instant replays and shit. But I don't know if this happened in the pay-per-view feed or if it was just in the stadium on the Jumbotron. And the Jumbotron, they would show the same fucking camera. Yeah. It was like the same camera on 3 side-by-side images. So you're watching literally the same shot in 3 different images. That is like, that's not an efficient use of space.
Yeah, that was really weird. Like there would be times when they would do like the 3 different cameras, and you're like, oh, that's cool that they're utilizing this gigantic screen to give you like 3 different views at once of the thing. But they never did it when a move was happening. They only did it like when someone was climbing a ladder.
Yeah,
it was great. Let's talk about Hell in a Cell, because that was a 30-minute match that was completely redeemed by the batshit crazy thing that happened at the end.
Oh,
I don't want to say completely redeemed.
Yeah,
I would like 20 of those minutes back.
Okay.
Really? I fucking love it.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I liked it a lot too.
Well, okay. I don't know if you guys must have had some cool WrestleMania crowd energy going on for that match, because on my couch, it was just boring.
All right,
I was like, oh my god, these guys just want to have an MMA match, and neither of them should be an MMA. Just stop it. But then, like once they got out of the cell. Like, that was cool. That like 10 minutes was really cool.
You know it was cool, Mark, is 3 tiny Shane McMahons starting the...
Well, yeah,
that was
the Mean Street Posse got really weird.
Yeah.
I think it's an Undertaker match, so it's gonna, like, dude's gonna need a few minutes between every spot. And I kind of went into it expecting it, so maybe my expectations for length is, like, I thought it was gonna go super duper long. And not that, like, Shane is a young man himself. But I thought there were tons of great, like... all of the many slams onto the staircase that they brought up onto the stage. Yes. That shit was hot. The coast to coast, I can't believe he can still do.
Well, I mean, more or less.
No, he did. He kicked the shit. Yeah, he kicked the shit out.
The coast to coast was like that coast to coast was the first minute where I really kind of perked up, because like there's a real difference between like doing a long match and building up to something and just like boring your audience to like before you just decide to switch it on. And I don't know if it was the previous match being so hot that like everyone, me and everyone I was with were like, yeah, this is whatever. But
I thought
don't know, it
like
just wasn't.
the slam through the gate out of and I thought that was actually the most worrying moment for me is because Shane caught that announcer's table right on the old neck, like right on the old spinal cord.
Also, they nearly killed that German announcer with the top of the cage there.
And then like Undertaker just like putting him through the fucking cheese grater, just like slamming him up against that desk like neckward over and over. I thought that fight was shit hot like all throughout. That I loved that fight.
Yeah.
I did not think it was as slow as a lot of people. Although I certainly saw a lot of people saying like, "Fucking get on with it."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I was. Was just like, okay, like you gotta do whatever that you're gonna do. I think it was the like laying around on the ground with both of them doing triangle chokes that just went on forever, and like just some strikes back and forth and like slowly circling around each other for way too long. It was just too much of like things that were not what I want to be seeing. And I don't mean I needed Shane to be jumping off of every tall object he found for like 20 minutes or whatever. Right. It's just I feel like you could have condensed everything they did and it would have felt better than it was.
Well, you could say that about literally WrestleMania.
oh yeah.
It was an analogy for the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think the second most impressive thing about this match was the amount of Undertaker's tan that wound up on Shane McMahon's bright white jersey.
That dude is a fucking beige. Like by the end of it,
because like a third of the way through, I was like, "What did he lay on the ground? Why is it all smudged?" And then I was like, "Oh, that's the Undertaker. That's his essence."
Yeah, that's his strength. That's what gives him power.
Did you get any of that? Did you get any of that Shane McMahon money? Greg?
Oh no, it did not reach Silvertown. Not at all. What do you think about Undertaker? And I mean, he's like fucking 50. I get it. The only disappointing thing about the jump is that it was completely worth it. Like Undertaker rolled out of the way.
The thing about Undertaker rolling out of the way is that if he had not rolled out of the way, he definitely would have died. And also, Shane McMahon probably would have gotten seriously hurt landing on a lumpy human instead of a flat surface.
Another totally fair.
Because Undertaker's made out of like just mostly bones and arthritis and peanut brittle at this point. So
I think that's unfair. I think he's still a big strong man.
He is, but big strong men have calcium deposits in their bones too. No? Okay.
No, that's fair.
Well, let's talk about the Dre.
I literally forgot about the Dre. That's not
really
like a joke.
Our boy Barry Corbin won the whole shebang by eliminating his Uncle Kane.
I wish you guys could have seen the way I reacted to this, like as it was happening,
dude.
I'm just like, oh, Baron Corbin's getting the Mania payday. And then a couple of guys get eliminated. I'm like, wait, they're kind of pushing Corbin to the side. Does that mean he's going to be around at the end? And then there's like 3 dudes left. I'm like, oh my God, Corbin's going to win. Corbin's going to win.
Yeah, the press box completely flipped their shit when Baron Corbin won. It was great. It was wonderful. I liked all the comedy. I liked that Shaq made his debut here.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing I want to talk about. Because I learned about Sweet Barry Corbin at NXT TakeOver. And his just massive, powerful belly button.
So wide.
But I've known about Mr. Shaquille O'Neal for a while now. And did he do anything except get his ass thrown out of the... He choked Kane a little bit.
He eliminated,
Big Show.
He eliminated Damian Sandow.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah.
Everyone, like, Damian Sandow pops to the ring. Everyone's like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then he gets thrown out of the ring. And everyone's like, oh, well, that's the opposite of what we wanted.
Well, that was obvious because he had just like instantly eliminated somebody else too.
Yeah.
So it was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then him and Shaquille O'Neal grabbed each other by the throat meat, and then everybody threw them out.
And then Shaq said "Kazam," and he turned into a genie and used his genie powers to beat Big Show in a fight.
Well, that's probably next year's WrestleMania.
He made it rain hamburgers.
Yeah. Diamond Dallas Page was in the match. In his jeans.
That was exciting. I was glad to see DDP.
Yeah. Always a good time to see DDP.
Didn't do much.
I almost bought I almost bought a DDP shirt they had on the WWE shop the night before when they had like a 40% off clearance. But they did not have any in my size. And, I was going to go buy that without any knowledge of like him being at Mania the next day. I was just like, oh, here's a DDP shirt that costs literally $3. I should get that.
Maybe DDP's rationale is like, well, if you're doing DDP yoga, you'll only need size small.
Oh, see, if it was a DDP yoga shirt,
yeah.
Well, A, I wouldn't have been buying it, and no. B, but it was, his like Illuminati, cutter
right.
action, which I do love that we got WCW Illuminati facing off against Egyptian Space Illuminati during the Dre. That was great to have the Ascension and DDP interacting with each other, fighting over whose Illuminati is stronger.
And it was Connor was stronger.
I mean, in the end, probably not. But in that moment,
The Rock came out to have a flamethrower and then tell everyone that the Wyatt family's fat and dumb.
Well,
when that would have been cool was early in the show, and not at 11 o'clock when everyone was leaving my apartment because they were like, Jesus fucking Christ, when does this end?
I would have preferred it happened at never o'clock because I love The Rock so much. I fucking can't with this anymore. The Rock, I love you so much. I can't with you anymore. We've been at this thing for 5.5 hours at that point. You can't take 15 minutes to get to the stage. Mr. The Rock, you can't get 15 minutes to get to the stage. And then once you get to the stage, you do your stuff, you do your great lines, and then you tell us in the audience that there's a lot of us. That's your announcement. Hey, hi guys. I know, sorry it took me so long to get down here. I saw a flamethrower, I had to play with it. Anyway, there's a lot of you. Like, yeah, thanks, Mr. The Rock, we know, because it took us 4 fucking hours to get into the building. Because of how many of us there are. We had a chance to count. We had a chance to number the stars ourselves, Mr. The Rock, because we had a lot of fucking time.
So you refused to smell what he was cooking.
I didn't smell what The Rock cooked. And that is the greatest crime that this WrestleMania perpetrated, is that it made me hate Mr. The Rock. And because this is the third fucking time, I love Bray Wyatt with my whole heart. And I hope you know about that. When my buddy who has been like my buddy Justin, who has been my envoy into the wide world of wrestling, he had a 30th birthday party, and it was a wrestling themed birthday party. I showed up as Bray Wyatt. My wife was Luke Harper. It was wonderful. I spent like $130 on my costume. I went ham on it. I love that dude so much. He's the best. He doesn't get like nearly as not enough like credit or like screen time as he should. And then it was actually nice that The Rock gave him some kudos.
Yeah.
Like, you're really talented and super charismatic, and the people here hold up their phones for you. You have, like, a big thing, and everybody here loves you. Anyway, I'm gonna fucking embarrass your boy.
Well, that's the thing is, like, boy, this went so much better than, like, any past The Rock 1 year interaction with any current star ever. This went so much better than it normally does. Because normally with The Rock...
there were no women on screen, for one.
Right. But
except for the $1 million Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
Right. But he didn't insult them, because normally he likes to insult women.
Fun guy. Fun stuff.
But normally what he does is he pops up every, like, 3 to 12 months, and, like, someone, like, who's currently, like, hot shit will step in the ring with him, and he'll be like, you're dumb, you're gay, whatever, I'm out of here, boom! Like, throw down the mic, and, like, then, like, disappear in a smoke bomb. He's like, I don't have to work here tomorrow, you're ugly, see ya!
Okay, his fucking burn about Bray Wyatt eating at Cracker Barrel, that did actually, boy, that got my noodle going. Yes. Holy shit, that was funny.
Right. But, like, he's, like, not only did he put over Bray as, like, you are hot shit, like, even though I'm goofing on you, like, I recognize that you are immensely talented and can do anything you want to do. Like, not only did he do that, but also he, like, gave his little insults, and then Bray was like, you know what? Fuck your jokes. I'm here to beat your stupid ass. You know, like,
except I'm not.
Right. Like, no, but here's the thing. Like, normally, like, at least he got that, because normally when The Rock shows up and he's like, you're stupid, I hate you, I'm gonna fuck your girlfriend, boom. Like, the other person's like, oh, they fall over backwards and then die. Like, they don't even get a retort. But, like, I actually was really tickled, like, because The Rock was like, I'll fight any one of you, and then he, like, tore off his clothes. And then I thought this was totally great for one reason, because one, it's Eric Rowan who takes the 6-second loss, and it's not like Eric Rowan's stock can get any lower. But he gets
his ass beat in a fight the length of a vine.
Right. But the other thing about it is it actually makes me love Bray Wyatt more, because Bray Wyatt's character at this point, at WrestleMania 32 in the year 2016, is like, you know what? I think Eric Rowan's got this.
Time to prove yourself, boy.
He had his pick of him or the really big guy.
Or the guy who is essentially a bus.
Yeah. Or the guy who's like a shittier King Barrett. Like, no. I think it's your chance now.
I totally feel what you're saying. And I definitely didn't feel as bad about this as I did like the Ric Flair shit.
Right.
But I think Bray Wyatt was already way, way, way over. Are there people out there who like aren't into Bray Wyatt's thing?
Well,
I think he's pretty beloved.
There are people who aren't into how the Wyatt family has been handled.
Well, yeah, it's dumb.
This ended up tying into something they do Monday with the Wyatt family, and like it all ends up making some measure of sense.
Well, let's just go ahead and breeze through the end of this. Then.
John Cena. One more thing though.
John Cena came back.
John Cena. But other than John Cena, I feel like this was a present to the retired Daniel Bryan, because now he no longer has the shortest WrestleMania match in history.
Oh, he didn't anyway.
Didn't he? 18 seconds? Wasn't that the shortest?
That was the shortest title match. SD Jones lost in 9 seconds at the first WrestleMania to King Kong Bundy.
Oh.
Sorry.
Who remembers that far back?
Me. I'm a nerd. Stephanie McMahon gave us the greatest GIF of all time. Thank you, Stephanie McMahon.
It's just so amazing.
That entrance was amazing, because it's like that animation of like people with their mouths covered, and like just her being like, yeah, fuck you, that's what I think of you, the fans. And everyone's like, boo. Or yay? Yeah, that's what everyone said. She's like, yeah, you guys all suck and we tell you what to do. Everyone's like, yay, beat the guy we don't like. It's good irony. It's just solid irony.
Oh, so great.
This match
it's very hard.
Yep.
That fucking monologue, guys. I get, like, it was fun. And I was very much into... I mean, she has provided us with the most wonderful GIF of the skull coming off of her face that you can use for literally any social online interaction. That fucking monologue, though, dudes. It was some fucking Mortal Kombat Annihilation the film shit of like, now you will die. Like, no, we control everything. We are the ones in power, and you are the ones who come to us looking for escape from your miserable lives. You will never have the control because we have it, and that's the way you like it, because we're in control. It was not. It was.
But then people cheered it.
Yeah, it was great. It was so great. It was like the epitome of y'all a bunch of puppets. Like,
yeah, it was just that.
It was everyone being like, what you're saying is right. Hooray! We are idiots. Woo! Put the woo back up on the screen.
We don't know when to woo or count to 8.
Apparently, this match was 27 minutes 11 seconds long.
That's it?
Felt like 47 minutes and 11 seconds.
Oh my god. I was just slumping on my couch like further and further with each minute of submissions on Roman Reigns' arm.
Yeah. The finishing stretch was hot, apart from the, weirdness of Stephanie McMahon getting cheered for being speared. Yeah.
That was
she did.
Yeah.
She did lead a skeleton army, and
she led a skeleton army, which is fine, except this is, this is real life. And it's not Masters of the Universe shit. Like, that put a real. This is my first WrestleMania, and like, I think the crowd was fun, even when they were being shitheads about it. When she got speared, and everybody was like, "Yeah, get it!" Like, literally, almost everybody in the place. I was like, "Ugh." You need to get out of here. You gotta scoot.
What's tough about it is like there's always complaints that Stephanie cannot get any kind of comeuppance because there are like no women on the roster who have been able to challenge her, and you know the time she does wrestle, like she comes out on top, and the guys can never touch her. So it's like this weird universe where it's the way to get at Stephanie is only by, you know, beating Triple H. So it's kind of a weird situation where everyone is like dying for something to happen to her. So then something finally happens, and this instinctive reaction of like, yes, finally, finally she took damage.
And if they're doing it like they did it in the best possible way that they can do a thing like that, in that Stephanie McMahon keeps cheating in the match, and then she's like, hey, here's a murder weapon. You should bash his brains in with this. And she hands him a sledgehammer, and then she gets in the ring to interfere again, and then Triple H moves out of the way, and Roman Reigns accidentally spears her, and then reacts horrified at what he has done because he has accidentally speared her. So.
Yeah, like, it had to happen in some way, and that was definitely a good way of handling it. Yeah. And I agree. Like, the last 5 minutes of this match were, you know, it was hot. It was good at that point.
At least Triple H, you know, immediately went to check on his wife, who just, oh, no, wait, oh, hold on, wait, I'm playing back the tape now. And he went in for an attack on Roman Reigns. Did not check on Stephanie for a long time. She, like, rolled out of the ring, and she handed him, like, something from under the ring. And even then, he wasn't like, hey, babe, just checking, you okay? Because a 250-pound, like, muscle ball just, like, ran into you real hard. Are you good? Hey, love of my life, you good?
I feel like Stephanie would be upset at him if he left to check on her. She would start screaming at him because, man, Stephanie didn't want him to lose that time.
Eyes on the prize, everybody. So, Griffin, overall thoughts on WrestleMania itself, WrestleMania 32?
I'm glad I went.
No.
It was a cool, probably once in a lifetime experience. Maybe if it comes back to Texas, I'll hit it up again. It was, I mean, obviously there have been better WrestleManias. Mm-hmm. I think there were a lot of very great fights. Like I loved the women's match. And I really, really liked Undertaker McMahon. I loved the ladder match. Those were probably my top three. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of really good fights. And there was just a lot of really shitty storytelling. Like a lot of just genuinely super duper bad storytelling going on here. And like for me, like when I realized like what this whole time, I've never watched WrestleMania. I've never watched wrestling my whole life because like I couldn't like abstract it out to the point of like, yes, it's a scripted thing, but if you can get past that, that means they can do so many cool storytelling things with wrestling. Mm. And once I realized that, like I was all in, like I was super, super on board. So for me, I think I like that stuff better than just, you know, cool fighting. And this was a cool fighting based WrestleMania. And I just, man, there was so much talk. I saw so many fucking people on Twitter being like, okay, this is the fight where Roman turns heel. What if The Rock comes out to congratulate him after the win and he, you know, does this whole like, I hate that my career is based on yours, and he attacks him and that's how he turns heel? Or what if fucking Seth Rollins comes out and he helps him beat Triple H and they reform Shield? I saw stuff like that for like every match. We were trying to figure out like, oh, there's got to be some way that they handle the Shane versus Undertaker match because like the stakes are too high for either of them to lose, right? So like, there's got to be something where like the Undertaker finally revolts against Vince McMahon being like his puppet this whole time. And so what if he just fucking beats him, and then at Raw, like they give it to him anyway.
Yeah.
There's so much fucking bad storytelling, like so much build up to nothing. And like I saw a lot of apologists like, well, it's, you know, it's a long con. They're building it up. Fuck that. Like, this is WrestleMania. This is when you cash in your chips. Like, so many people saying, like, oh, they're going to conclude this story shit on Raw. Like, that's fine. Do other stuff on Raw. Like, do other story stuff on Raw. This is WrestleMania. Cash in your chips. There were very, very, very few chips being cashed in, and just a lot of people trying to force Roman Reigns on us. And it's like, the fact that he hasn't made a heel turn at this point is inscrutable because he'd be the best fucking heel ever. The muting the boos, like, the fact that you can get any reaction for anybody is amazing. Lean into it. Mm-hmm. The muting it is like, who's going to fall for that shit?
Mark, your thoughts?
Yeah.
Nope.
The Ambrose Lesnar match, and I don't really mind the story so much for Shane and Undertaker, because I think there's a way like what they did on Monday makes sense, but we can get into that a little bit. Overall, it was a very long show. It was too long. If you're gonna do a show that's long, like, it's gotta be on fire at the end, and this wasn't, and it's kind of amazing still that they put Triple H versus Roman Reigns on last, knowing what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought, just was way too long. And I think they played a lot of stuff too safe because, I don't know, I think maybe that everyone was expecting a bunch of craziness to happen and they just were afraid of not living up to it or whatever, or people weren't ready to come back or, whatever the case may be. They played stuff too safe, but I thought overall a lot more good than bad.
It was a good Mania.
Yeah.
There are bad Manias.
Yes.
There have definitely been bad Manias.
Yeah.
The last two I thought were great. 30 is maybe the greatest.
Yeah.
So coming on the downswing compared to the last two, that's fine. Those were amazing Manias. But man, you can't make the show like 17 days long and just be 17 days long of like good.
Yeah. Let's just try and get through it quick, but let's talk about how the Raw after WrestleMania, the show is always really awesome, and the people who attended are always like just bags of garbage, cosplaying as wrestling fans.
Why is that?
Because people come from all over the world, and it's like people come from all over the world to WrestleMania, and they stay for Raw, and at this point, it's become a tradition for like the most up their ass smart marks of all in the entire world to buy tickets to this Post-Mania Raw with the express intent of quote unquote hijacking the show. The Mania after Raw is always where shit happens, but it's also evolved into this thing where because there's so many people from all over the world, they're the ones who are like, we're the smartest, we like wrestling the most, we know what is the best about wrestling and what is the worst about wrestling, so let's make our voices heard by paying money to go in and shit on the people that we supposedly like a lot. It's very weird, and I don't know if I'm going to be going to the Post-Mania Raw anymore just because the people irritate me so bad. Like, there were some people behind us. There were some people behind me that, like, for the first 2 hours, like, just sitting there with their arms crossed, like, well, this is bullshit. This is stupid. Why are they doing this? This is dumb. All of this is bad. This is stupid. And then in the third hour, they finally were like, God, guys, show these fucking people in the ring some respect. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, like, why is any of this happening? Why are any of you here? And then after the match, after the Raw, all these horrible people went out in front of the arena and wrestled fake matches against each other out on the street.
Now, can you confirm or deny, and feel free to edit this out of the podcast if you don't want this info getting out of there, but did you think you just like this Raw because you get money from WWE to say nice things about it? I know you don't like that info getting out of there, but like we're kind of coworkers and like I know what's going on. So like, if you don't want everybody to know that you are like completely in the tank, then please like go ahead and cut this out. But
yeah, during this Raw, I found out that people were just like talking about me online, and then like I guess apparently a talking point about me is that I'm quote unquote in the tank for WWE, which is very. Do
you think those people listen to this podcast?
Absolutely not.
Okay, good.
But
these are people who are like, they view a lot of Raw's quality based on like the ratings. So if the ratings are bad, everything about the show must be terrible, and it's impossible to enjoy anything on the show. And everything WWE does is wrong.
It's just like it bummed me out real hard for like an hour, but like because like and I've tried to be very vocal about like why I root the way I root. Is that like a couple years ago I just made a decision like, hey, because I like this thing, why don't I try and focus on the things that I like about it instead of being every other person on the internet who's just like me and just hating it, and then like just essentially turning into like hate watching a thing that I supposedly enjoy.
Yeah,
like I don't like it. I don't like dwelling on this shit, and I'm not afraid to complain about the shit I don't like. So I don't know, whatever.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Fuck those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
For real.
Like,
I never looked at it that way, but you're right.
Yeah. I mean, I know very precisely who we're talking about, and I enjoy them for certain things. But man, go fuck yourself for that.
Well, now I feel bad for going so ham on the shitty storytelling at WrestleMania.
No, it's all good. No,
that
absolutely.
stuff sucked. It was just.
No, like
I really like the part where the old man jumped to his death.
No. See, I like getting your perspective because you're like a new fan, and like it was your first WrestleMania, and
right.
Like,
and I'm excited by like the narrative of the thing, and you know what I'm not excited about? Fucking Diamond Dallas Page. Well, that's a bad example because he actually got in the shit and did some shit, but like I'm not excited about like dudes I totally respect. And I enjoy the clips or whatever that I've watched of them, and I totally respect their position as icons. I don't give a fuck. Like, I just don't give a fuck.
Right.
I don't give a fuck, homie.
But apart from the really bad storytelling with Shane McMahon, did you like Raw overall?
I did not watch the Raw.
You just read about it.
I read a recap. Yeah, I had things to
cool.
do last night, and I figured at that point I had watched literally 5 straight nights of wrestling, and so I gave myself a little breather.
You know what? I respect you for that. I deeply respect you for that. There were a lot of debuts and there were a lot of returns out the wazoo, and it was a lot of fun if you could separate it from the crowd.
I was very excited about the debuts and the returns.
Yeah,
I also thought it was a good episode, and I hope WWE knows because I haven't gotten my check yet.
No,
but like Apollo Crews debuted, had a good match against Tyler Breeze, who's going to have a job for like the rest of his life because Tyler Breeze is great at being Tyler Breeze and being the guy that they need him to be. I think that there are a lot more possibilities for Apollo Crews on the main roster than in NXT currently, because there's not really anything else he can do in NXT. It's just a question of like what they're going to do with this character and how they're going to develop him and what storyline they're going to put him in. Really stoked to have Cesaro back. Really stoked to have AJ Styles be Roman Reigns' first #1 contender. Roman Reigns is going to... he's going to truck AJ Styles, but AJ Styles is going to help Roman Reigns look like $1 billion. But they really did, Griffin, they really did on this episode lean into how people are behaving with Roman Reigns, especially in front of this crowd.
I read his line.
Yeah,
his hot line.
Fucking phenomenal. And
yeah, it was great.
And it was great. And what was even better was how he was reacting to the people who were like coming to the ring to challenge him. And like when Sami Zayn was the fourth person to come into the ring to challenge him, Roman Reigns gave him this look like, the fuck are you? And then like gave him like the palm down like finger flick like leave.
I'm not kidding. If he can keep selling that shit, he'll turn it around.
If
he can do that Seth Rollins shit of just like, I am the hot shit right now.
Yeah.
Fuck everybody else.
And that's what he's going to start doing. And the shittiest thing of all of this is that the instant Roman Reigns turns heel, everyone's going to love him.
Yeah.
Is that shitty though, or is that kind of beautiful?
I mean,
it's good, but it's like we've been talking about how if you turn him heel, people are going to feel like they organically like him, even though the reason he got turned face in the first fucking place is because they liked him.
Right.
Does anybody... Okay, this is a weird question, but hear me out. Do people actually hate Roman Reigns as much as you would think they would because they have to fucking mute the crowd booing at WrestleMania, or...
Absolutely not.
That's his fucking that's his character. His character is he's the guy that everybody is supposed to hate for, I'm not joking, I think reasons they have long forgotten about. I think that's nobody even knows why they're fighting this war anymore. It's just been going on so long.
Yep.
And I think that it doesn't, I hope it doesn't like offend him on like an out of kayfabe level of like, why does everybody boo me?
Oh,
like if that was me,
does not.
if I was like, I would be psyched. That is the biggest reaction he gets for the night. It's booze, whatever, but that's the biggest reaction anybody gets for the night. Is that's his character. He's the guy that everybody hates, and then as soon as he turns that heel, it's not like everybody's turning this negative energy into positive energy. It's just like they are channeling this energy that they give to this one character into. They like codify it in a way, and I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
which is why I was hoping that would be, if that had been the payoff for WrestleMania. If they had ended that 7-hour affair and that half-hour-long fight that nobody really gave a shit about with him turning heel, it would have been legendary. Mm-hmm. It would have been remarkable.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I can promise you that Roman Reigns absolutely does not give a shit about the reaction that he's getting as long as he gets a reaction, because one, like the people, like the children, this is a children's program.
Yeah,
the children who watch the show, they like Roman Reigns, so that is very cool. And also, Roman Reigns opens up his paycheck and looks at the numbers, and then
he says, "Yes, very good."
And then he stands up and he goes into the bathroom and he looks in the mirror and he sees his beautiful face, and his glistening hair and chiseled body, and he's like, "You know what? I think that all things considered,
all great.
I think that all things considered, my life is pretty fucking good, arguably the best." So
and then he fucking looks out the bathroom window and he sees Chris Hero staring at him, just desperately wanting.
No.
That could have been me.
Chris Hero's in the shrubs eating a baconator, just like.
What's the only disappointing thing about this whole affair is that it seems like the only person who doesn't get it is WWE, maybe Vince McMahon. Like the fact that they mute the boos,
right?
It makes you think that they're trying to like just force feed this thing. Like I was so psyched about when I started hearing about the muted boos. I was like, oh, they are not doing a heel turn. Like, oh my god, I can't fucking believe they're trying to make this guy into John Cena. This is unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna happen though. It's gonna happen.
I can't wait. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, you should try and watch that promo, that segment if you can track it down on YouTube, because you're really gonna like seeing Roman Reigns deal with that crowd, and also like his facial expressions when people are stepping into the ring.
I really
he's
like
just
Roman.
so dismissive.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I really like Roman Reigns. I think his promo stuff is like, it's getting better. Right. It used to be like fucking horrible.
Yeah.
But he's such a good fighter, and he puts in so much work. I really like the dude, but I even divorced from like what the crowd thinks about him, I think he would be the best heel. Like,
absolutely.
in the game right now.
Absolutely, yeah, without question.
What if him and Seth Rollins reconnected on the dark side to come up with the fucking Dark Shield? And then there was like Dean Ambrose, like them trying to win him over, like fighting for his. There's so much stuff they could do with that.
Yeah, I mean, like it's exciting times, man. Like there's so much that can happen, and probably will. So, Seth Rollins is going to be back in probably within the next 2 months, and then John Cena will be back and Randy Orton will be back, and we'll have all our pals in the same place again. Dark Shield though, I like that.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
You can use that, Vince.
Yeah.
Hit me up. Hit me up, Vince.
He definitely listens to Rudo Radio. Another highlight of the night was considering the shitty crowd and everything, was Charlotte just fucking handling them. Just like they were like, boo, we want Bayley, boo. Hey, everything that's happening, we're not going to pay attention to it because we want Bayley to debut and fuck everybody in the ring. And Charlotte was just like working them. It was great.
Yeah. Were you surprised at Bayley? I was not. It seems like she has like so much more stuff she could do at NXT, and they just called up like whole four horsemen.
I wouldn't have been surprised if she had debuted, but I mean it's pretty clear like they still have a lot of stories left to tell with Bayley in NXT and with everyone
with Asuka. That's like man.
Yeah. There's gonna be a rematch. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be more stuff.
I mean, I could see Bayley coming up right after Charlotte handles Natalya.
Yeah.
Just Charlotte getting really like, I've beaten the new and I've beaten the old, so whatever.
Yeah, all good stuff. But I think like obviously like apart from the Fatal 4-Way main event, which was fucking amazing, the clear highlight of the night was Enzo and Cass debuting.
Was the Usos versus Dudley Boys rematch.
Yep, it was great. Everyone loved it a lot, and definitely no one shit on this match.
I mean, I wasn't really paying attention to that match too much at home.
Neither was anyone in the arena. Also, like,
and then
okay, here's the biggest example of how shitty this fucking crowd was Barry Corbin comes out, and everybody in the crowd's like, yay, we're NXT fans. We definitely like NXT more than WWE. Yeah, this is our guy. We love this guy. And then the match started, and they're like, you know what? Fuck both of these guys, because somebody's got a beach ball over here. And then they were... And then, like, the entire next, like, 8 to 10 minutes was people being like, oh, we want a beach ball. Woo! Like, it just fucking... I think
that all happened during a commercial.
I wanted to punch everybody into the sun.
I do want to talk about Enzo and Cass, because another a couple of NXT folks I had never heard of. And then I saw like everybody tweeting about it last night and loaded up a clip of their debut.
Yes.
And holy fucking shit.
Right. Yeah. Like the hottest segment. Like
just
Henry
left
Silver.
me quivering. Yeah. Just like the best shit.
And reportedly, like, Enzo, like, just all he does all day long is, like, write down, like, clever lines and insults he thinks up in notebooks, and reportedly has, like, notebooks full of these one-liners. So we can look forward to him just wrecking people on the mic for years to come. Also, we talked about this after the Breakdown WWE Network special. Mark, you will recall this, but, like, every time Enzo pops up on, like, a new show, like, you think, like, oh, this is definitely the craziest that Enzo Amore can possibly look. And then the next time you see him, you're like, holy shit!
He looked like, you know, the Yahoo tech wizard Shingy? It looks like if Shingy went on, like, a 15-day, like, mescaline bender.
Yes.
And got, like, super jacked. I cannot, the extent to which I would literally dissolve at the molecular level watching a tag team match between those two and the New Day is it's unquantifiable how fucking enjoyable that fight would be.
Yeah. Well, once Enzo and Cass deal with the Dudleys, I'm sure that's next on the docket.
We should give credit to Bubba for his reactions to just getting ethered the whole.
Oh my god!
Both Bubba and Devon were fucking, like, they definitely, like, hell, like, Enzo and Cass were going to be solid gold no matter what, but that was just the cherry on top of the whole thing.
I want to mention, because I completely forgot to talk about it 2 hours ago. I was thinking about, like, talking about that dream tag team match. My wife, Rachel, we watched it together in a big group of folks. We watched NXT TakeOver. Mm-hmm. And when Shinsuke Nakamura came out, like, everybody fell in love with him. She brought up how good a fight between Shinsuke Nakamura and Bray Wyatt would be.
Yeah.
Just two fucking complete weirdos. Just moving their bodies all weird. I want that very badly.
Man, I want to see that.
Yeah. That's
cool. Hey, Bray Wyatt might have, since you didn't see Raw, Bray Wyatt might have turned face.
Yeah, that's true. He might have done.
What happened?
He saved.
They came in. So the New Day won a tag team title match against League of Nations just to change things up a little bit. And then League of the Nations, Sheamus got on the mic and he's like, you know, they say that you're only as strong as your weakest link. So then they just fucking wrecked King Barrett, like, bro kicked him and, like, rolled his lifeless body out of the ring. And Wade Barrett's almost
into a dumpster of being retired from wrestling.
Yeah. And Wade Barrett's almost certainly done with wrestling at this point. And then the lights went out, and then the Wyatt family showed up in the ring, and they just beat the piss out of all of the League of Nations. And then Bray Wyatt had, like, white boy dreadlocks, and then he knelt over Sheamus, and everyone was like, "Hooray!"
Fuck, I love
the crowd was pretty hot for it too. Like, they want to see the Wyatts succeed, and if they're faces, they're going to actually win feuds.
Yeah,
I want to see them do fucking anything. Like, I feel like they just haven't had a hot thing in
forever.
Long time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's a shame. It's a shame. Like, I'm totally down for them to be faces. Like, I'm totally down for them to try anything new and get some more time. for me, the best thing was like one of the first things I saw of wrestling, which was Bray Wyatt's match versus John Cena, where he tried to like sacrifice himself to be killed.
Yeah.
Like that joke I made about Brock Lesnar earlier being chainsawed for the glory of WWE, like Bray Wyatt serving himself up on a platter. And even though it didn't happen, like that was one of the hottest things. Like if it had happened and we had gotten Dark Cena joining the Dark Shield, like that would have been even better. But like, it's a shame that sort of corrupter Bray Wyatt is probably not going to happen.
Yeah, well, people switch back and forth. Look at the Big Show.
Does he ever?
I'd rather not.
Well, you just want to look at him from the inside.
From the inside, I want to control him like the little alien in Men in Black.
But yeah, Enzo Cass amazing. Apollo Crews debut. I think there was another debut too, right? And probably Cesaro came back. Maurice came back.
Cesaro came back in a tear-off suit.
Yes, so great.
I love the recent influx of like Joe Bluth stripper pants for wrestlers, where they're just ripping them off at the immediate moment.
Yeah, everyone's in hot cops now.
Is Sami Zayn re-injured, or was that?
No, it's just storyline.
Okay,
just storyline. Because I mean, there's
just to further Kevin Owens being a jerk.
Yeah, and further the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens feud having bad blood on the main roster now. But like, there's no way. Like, there's absolutely no way. It's like, oh man, Sami Zayn got injured. I guess we're gonna have to do Cesaro's return tonight.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Also, like, Sami Zayn is injured. Let's powerbomb him through a table.
Yeah, there's that
covered in stuff.
Yeah, if Sami Zayn was really injured, they would have been like, all right, jump him backstage and like throw him into like a wardrobe chest, like, not. Oh yeah, just powerbomb him through this table. It'll probably be fine.
But watch his shoulder.
Yeah. Just ginger on the left shoulder though when you do it. But the Vaudevillains are going to debut on SmackDown. That was announced.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, and they got all new like music too from judging by the promo, because it's not the it's like
which is good. It made no sense for them once they turned into actual villains.
Yeah, they're not
the VOD variety.
They're not the VOD goofy fun time guys.
Yeah, they needed that sinister, like William Regal-esque tune back, or something completely new.
And we got a really weird vignette of the Colognes who have been repackaged into just a couple of guys who love being from Puerto Rico.
I don't know why they think Matadors are from Puerto Rico, but that's okay.
And then Maurice came back and cost Zack Ryder the Intercontinental title, and I think that was awesome because not only does Zack Ryder get his WrestleMania moment, it reestablishes Miz as like an all-time supreme shithead who's the best in the world, and now he has his wife to hide behind, which is even better, and now people are going to be even more on board with like, yay Zack Ryder, fuck the Miz, we want Zack Ryder to win his title back.
Do you think Maurice is back, or was that a one-time?
No, she's back. She's definitely back.
Oh, okay.
Like, if she's getting involved in jumping the rail and slapping a guy and then celebrating in the ring with her husband, like, that's back. I don't care who you are. Yeah,
I want the Miz to be in any kind of featured capacity.
Yeah,
I think if they give Zack Ryder some screen time, like if the Miz gloms onto that, like I will be, man, I love that dude.
Yeah, he's the best. That's why you love him. It's because he's so good at his job, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, final thoughts, guys. I mean, like because we haven't talked enough, but final thoughts, though.
Can't end the podcast until I have a flamethrower and my name.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, 10 minutes of whatever. Then we can sign off.
Yeah.
I would recommend going to WrestleMania if you have the means. It is choice. I will probably watch wrestling more frequently because of this week.
NXT at least.
Yeah, I definitely want to get down on NXT. I definitely want to, at the very least, watch Raw recaps or whatever. Because this was the first time that I had watched. I watched all the pay-per-views. This was the first time that I felt like I knew everything about everyone going into WrestleMania, and even some of NXT. Like I knew who Sami Zayn was, and I'd studied up on Shinsuke, and I knew about Bailey and Asuka. Like it's cool to be. And I know, like, if I sound ridiculous right now, if you're like a diehard wrestling person, but like it's neat to be informed because it makes following the storylines so much easier, and it makes like the big story points so much more exciting. And I'll probably put in the effort because this was a great week.
Yeah. since you got the network, Griffin, what I would recommend if you have the time is go back to August, and starting in August, watch the NXT takeovers that have happened. I guess there's only 2 since then, but you just go back and watch the takeover specials, because then you'll see a lot more Enzo and Cass. You'll see a lot more American Alpha.
Yeah,
you'll see a lot more Revival and a lot more Samoa Joe, and of course Barry C.
I definitely watched. I think the only thing I watched from a takeover was that Sasha Banks Bailey like Battle of the Titans.
Right, the best. All right, well, I'm really glad you could join us. I'm super glad that I got to hang out with you in Austin, and that you got to go to a WrestleMania, and it was a really crazy weekend of wrestling that I'm sure we'll talk more about later, because I was like, it was like 5 18-hour days for me, so of just doing wrestling shit, whatever. Mark, any final thoughts? No, you already said your final thoughts. You can say more.
I hope they were coherent.
Yeah, you had a flamethrower, I remember now. Griffin, where can people find you?
I do videos at Polygon. You can find us at polygon.com or on the YouTube channel for Polygon.
If you've ever played a video game and you have not watched Monster Factory, it's time to reevaluate.
Yeah, our last Monster Factory day was actually on WWE 2K16.
Yeah.
Where we recreated me and Justin recreated ourselves and fought against the Mario Brothers. So it's very much good wrestling. And I'm on Twitter at Griffin McElroy, and I do podcasts and shit.
Yep,
whatever.
Lots of podcasts. They're all good. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Come back next time there's a thing that happened.
So next week for Raw? No.
We'll do it. Mark, where can people find you?
Mark_Normandin on Twitter.
And check out SBNation.com/MLB for Mark's baseball writing, and OverTheMonster.com if you are a Red Sox fan. And,
but only then.
Yes, only then. Otherwise, you'll be angry. You can check
well,
out...
I won't, but my community,
Right. Check out CageSideSeats.com for all of your wrestling coverage. SBNation.com/wrestling. We got a lot of WrestleMania content up there. We're going to be posting a lot of interviews in the next couple weeks, because I conducted close to 40 interviews during my time in Dallas. And next week, we're going to have Jim Ross on the Rudo Radio. It's going to be great. A lot of cool stuff to say. And we're going to talk to all you guys next week. Thanks again to J.W. Friedman for our awesome theme song. And we'll talk to you guys next week.